Hello and welcome to the All Red Everything podcast. If you are not just listening with your ears, but perhaps watching with your eyes, you might notice that I'm sitting in a reasonably impressive facility next to a man named Loz Glen, who runs a little business called Hardtuned. Mate, thank you for making time.
No, thank you for coming all the way down from Brisbane, and it's great to have you here.
Mate, it's wild to be here. I've seen photos of this joint. The scale is difficult to comprehend when you walk in.
Yeah, especially when we first worked in here for the first time and saw it was a little bit different to what it is now. And we were looking around for a long time at Yatla and Oxenford and whatnot for tilt slabs. And we end up finding this place on Facebook Marketplace.
I heard that this was a marketplace find.
Yeah.
Like all great buyers, I cannot believe you found Hardtuned HQ on Marketplace. I hope you lowballed him.
Yeah.
Did you offer him a fish tank?
Yeah, that's right.
It is. Yeah, it's a really impressive facility, and I assumed that maybe they did like truck works or something here because you could sort of see that there was crane stuff. But I hear the story is actually even better.
Most definitely, yeah. It was quite interesting. Yeah, so when we went in here, it was essentially a fab shop for a lot of the Warner Brothers stuff down at Movie World, and the big I-beam up there was actually used for the Outback Spectacular to do a lot of the testing for the helicopter and stuff. So that whole rig up there was built to test the helicopter that comes in at Outback Spectacular.
Far out, because I've been in enough sheds to know what the gantries look like to hang cranes off, and I went,
Yeah, I think we've still got the tail somewhere for
really?
the helicopter somewhere around. I think it might be on the top level or something.
That's
like
amazing.
That,
You got to have that like hanging out the side, so it looks like somebody's put a chopper into the side of the joint.
Yeah.
Loz, I'm just really excited to chat with you because, mate, you've done something that very few people manage. Is you've taken an idea from its inception and you've very much turned it into a real thing. And I understand that people will have come across Hardtuned. What blows me away is when I'm in obscure parts of the world at automotive events and I see people rocking your gear. Like, is that something that still spins you out to this day?
Most definitely. I think, it hit home probably 10 or 15 years ago when we were in the UK and went to a race meet there. And one of my friends sent me a pen of the crowd, and just seeing all the 4-car, the classic generations Hardtuned hoodies, and it was just dotted throughout the whole grandstand, I guess, overlooking the event. And this is on the other side of the world in the UK, So it was a good feeling to see that, and then that was the same. I think back when it was forum days and whatnot. Just being picked up by, I think it was like 50 or 100 S chassis at the Heathrow Airport to go and meet the club that we had over there and see the impact that we had, especially early days in the internet when you didn't really comprehend how internet connected we are back then. And to see all these guys that were living the same, and I think that's what's beautiful about the car scene is that you can go anywhere in the world and we all share the same passion. We all have the same sort of vibe, and you connect really well, and can do the same dumb stuff.
I think that's the magic that I've continued to see, because as I keep finding myself at more and more things in more and more weird places, the people you meet, they're just the same as you and me. Like, we're all just mad for the same thing. We just love it.
Yeah.
And we've somehow accidentally shaped our lives to make sure that this is a big part of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's, especially with the cars, is that everybody's drawn together for cars, but it's surprising that you'll get people from all sorts of backgrounds and styles, or like, I think, when we were running the car club down in Adelaide back in the early days, like my lead guys were like a death metal head, 2 ravers, something else, all these people from that would not hang out usually, but we all shared a common interest in cars, and it creates that dynamic.
And that common interest, that's the bit that blows me away, is you're there, you find yourself accidentally chatting to a billionaire somewhere, and like they're just a mad car dude.
Yeah.
And you're just like, this is weird. and then same thing, you go places and it's just a bloke who just wants to weld the diffs and do skids until, the end of time. Same thing, you're like, my man.
That's right.
It doesn't really matter who you are, what you do. The vehicle, the automotive community is something actually very, very special.
Yeah.
Now, Loz, I don't know a great deal about you, the human. I know, you, the man behind Hardtuned, but I guess I'm interested to understand a little bit more about your journey. Mate, where were you born?
Okay, so I was born down in Adelaide, Australia. So, I guess grew up just near Prospect there, and spent most of my, I think, first 20 years of my life down there.
Now, where's Prospect in terms of, like, you were Adelaide down
So
the
you've
coast?
got, so you've got North Adelaide, then through to, I guess, North Adelaide's just up on the hill, and then it comes back down into Prospect. So it's only maybe 15 minutes from the city, 10,
gotcha.
15 minutes from the city, very close. And just nice area, I guess. And had family grew up in Whyalla, so that's country town. So dad and all that grew up. Grandparents all came over after the war, essentially.
Right.
So that's where it all starts. So.
And where from? So where did your grandparents come from?
So families from Poland originally. Most of my grandparents were in Auschwitz in the concentration camps there and whatnot. So pretty heavy stuff. I think grandpa on my dad's side was like in the first couple of thousand people. So managed to last the whole slog.
Wow.
But
Holy shit.
and then basically after the war ended, they sort of got the option ticket to America or a ticket to Australia, and they chose Australia.
Do you know why they chose Australia? Did they ever share that?
No, actually, no, I'm not sure. But it just happened that way, I guess. And not sure. I think maybe I don't want to say too much, but I think I think there's possibly they saw it as a new beginning because it's such a young country and things like that, maybe, and more opportunity. But then obviously,
Because there were a lot of people who got refuge in the States for other reasons as well. And so it would sort of make sense to go, do you know what? An island down the arse end of the planet?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
That sounds good. Yeah, that's right. And then they immigrants back then were shipped out to the country towns and whatnot. And so it was I think Dad always told me the story at 8 years old, hand casting the bricks out of mud.
Holy shit.
And so him and his twin brother were sitting there running bricks to the dad to build the house and whatnot, and they had a hand mixer for it all. And I was thinking that's a very different childhood to what I grew up in, obviously. But you've got to be. I think that's the good reflection is that hearing and seeing my grandfather's diary from back in the wartime. He was only 17, 18 or whatever when he was in the camp and whatnot. And if I need to reflect on my own life and going, oh, I'm in a bad place from this, I read his story and it makes me a bit lighter and going, hey, my problems aren't as big as those kind of problems.
So you've actually got his diary, like you've got.
Yeah. So it's quite some very funny stories in there and some pretty gruesome stories in there, obviously. But he, as a 17 or a teenager, seeing that kind of stuff, you've got to understand how that shapes you, I guess, in a certain way. And and that's the thing. They say it's intergenerational, and that's true because it definitely flows through even to me and whatnot. Like hearing all that and feeling all that, and that's part of your identity. But at the same time, it makes you, what's the word, not want to waste your life because the sacrifice that the people that have come before you have made so that you're on this planet makes you want to push harder.
And I think that is, it's hard to underestimate the impact, and oddly it's not dissimilar to the story that Michael Stanju told me about his family and how they had to actually escape war-torn country and escape, run over the border. And those sorts of things, when you grow up in Australia, you don't realise.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think, when the Ukraine war started, funnily enough, my partner's Russian, but at the same time, here is my great aunts picking up a minivan and driving straight into Ukraine to pick up all the relatives as quickly as possible and bring them back to Poland.
Get them out, because they're like, we've seen this before. And go, we don't like this greatest hits album. We've seen where this goes.
That's right.
Abort.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that's actually quite extraordinary. And your old boy making the bricks to build the house.
It's he's got a lot of stories like that, and I guess they had a pretty tough upbringing, but I guess they managed to shine from that, and I think like Jimmy Carr says, what is it? Tough early, easy later. And I see that with kids and whatnot. I'm a strong believer that obviously a soft parenting and things like that, you're gonna end up in a world of pain when they're a teenager probably. But
I don't disagree with you, and you're a father these days yourself. Did you find that fundamentally changed you as a human being?
Oh, completely. Yeah, I think it's like, how do I liken it? It's basically that you're born again in a certain way. I bought the GDR project before she came along, and that was the core focus. And then suddenly I think that's part of the big reason why it hasn't seen the track in full yet, because obviously priorities change and things like that. But at the same time, now the first couple of years are the tough years, and now that she's answering back to me and bossing me around all the time, we've got some structure.
It's pretty magical. I don't know if you've had the same experience, getting to see the world for the second time, like sort of getting to see everything again, because for them, everything's the first time.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And just seeing how they're little sponges and just absorb everything. And she's telling me all these stories every day when she comes back from kindy and whatnot. And it's, it's a lovely experience, really, really cool.
How old now?
She's 3.5. 3.5. So, going on a teenager.
Yeah, three-nager.
Three-nager, yeah.
Familiar with that one?
Most definitely, yeah.
No! What?
Well, yeah, or why. Lots of we're at the why stage at the moment. So, yeah, everything's why.
Because going back to Prospect, so they're brothers, sisters?
I'm only child, so only child. A few cousins down there, a few cousins in Melbourne, relatives overseas obviously as well, and just I guess mum and dad were never together, so I was raised by my mum and my grandma, I think that also changes. Yeah, it's interesting seeing that, like, if you're raised by a single parent, dual parent, things like that, how that shapes your life and the difference that it makes.
I think it totally shifts the lens through which you see the world, and being raised by and tell me about them. Tell me about mother and grandmother.
Okay, so grandma was in the war as well, obviously. Mum, school teacher down there, and she's obviously, because I lived with her my whole life, she was the most inspirational probably of everyone, and. I guess, when I think that's one thing. Once you have children of your own, and once you get older and have a bit bigger understanding and reflect, you realise what a hard time you gave your parents, and you sort of feel guilty for it, because you're like, far out. Single mum, was at uni full time and working and to support everybody, and me as well. It's pretty tough, but
and you think back to when you're a little shit and you're like, oh
because you don't as a child you're not privy to the stresses that your parents go through, or the things you don't understand.
They shield you from a big portion of it generally, but I certainly apologise to my parents. I went, okay, I'm sorry, like parenting now and at this age, doing all these things and juggling, you guys did a fucking great job, and I'm really sorry I was ever ungrateful.
That's it. How did you do that without ChatGPT? How did you do that without parenting forums?
All of it.
Just I think that was the thing, is I'm like, how could my parents do that to me? Because this is the way to do it, but that education, that information was not really available.
It was not available.
And to have to think to wing it all by yourself in a certain way, and just rely on your inner network is pretty tough.
It's full on, mate.
But I think if anything though, now's for entrepreneurial types, I think now's a brilliant time, because obviously back then in the 80s, 70s, 80s, it was a lot harder to get the resources that you needed. So I think, but obviously now has a lot more struggles with different reasons as well. I think I saw an interview with the NVIDIA CEO that said that he said, like, if you want to be 20 born in this generation, or 20 when you were 20, he said 20 when I was 20, 100%.
I'm right there with you. Like, I'm pretty happy having grown up with Nokias that you could throw at the wall and bounce and laugh. And mate, that was a good time.
Yeah.
Because I think that the added complexities now, like all the cool stuff we've got is pretty cool, but the freedom that we had.
Yeah, that's right. I think, the freedom and the fact that, not everything is publicised or posted online or anything like that.
You could fail fairly quietly.
Exactly.
Nobody knew. Maybe
Exact-
2 or 3 people.
Exactly. And the mistakes you make as a teenager don't haunt you for the rest of your life or whatnot,
Absolutely. They've all evaporated.
I think,
I have no records of that time when I was, just young and stupid.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful that there's limited records.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's a hell of a thing. But growing up in that environment, and how did you go for school? Like, how were you at primary school? Did you find it? Did you enjoy it?
I love primary school. Primary school was fantastic. Yeah, it was a bike ride. Like, I think that was the strange thing as well. Yeah, being 8 years old and riding like a suburb and a half away to primary school, and then hanging to my friend's house till almost sunset, and then just riding home just before it got dark.
But that was the rules, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was the standard. We were the same. Yeah, just home by 6.
Yeah, that's right.
Which
exactly.
is coincidentally when the lights would come on.
That's right. Yeah.
Because there was no way to communicate.
Yeah. Well, in Adelaide it was 9, so it wasn't too bad. we got. I think that was one of the fondest. Is I think high school. We'd be able to just all jump in the back of a mate's ute and drive down to the beach and spend 4 hours at the beach after school every day. And you'd rock up at the lights with like 6 mates in the tray, and the police would be like, "Stop hanging your legs out the side. Just lean against the side. There's more sort of safety if you lean against the side of the tray or something like that." But it wasn't really. It wasn't even. They wouldn't pull you over or do anything.
And I find that weird. Well,
Yeah,
I remember being on trips and with people who were in charge. They're like, "Righto, back of the ute," and we went like 30-minute drives in the back of a ute, and you really didn't think too hard about that.
No, that's right. And I think, I saw that with, they had the analogy of the play equipment now for kids, and versus, back in the 20s, that was probably a bit too dangerous. Kids were dying every month or something like that. But
they're a bit wild to start with.
Yeah, exactly. You look
high.
at some of those old industrial...
that's like 8 metres off the ground.
Yeah, that's it. But maybe that was the natural selection tree that they built.
I think so. If you fall off this, you're not going to handle life.
That's right. But yeah, that's right. But the thing is, there's a certain level of safety, I think, where like the whole cotton wool thing that people talk about and whatnot, where I think that you have to have a certain level of danger to grow as a person. A certain amount of difficulty in your life to achieve. You look at, I think you look at the CEOs and the heads of a lot of Google, a lot of the big internet companies and IT companies out there, and a lot of them have come from, I guess, refugee or migrant families and things like that because of the toughness and the struggle that
Mate, they came
is.
up hard, and they're like, this is a mild inconvenience. Your work stresses in comparison to some of those stories.
That's right. Yeah, it's So I'm definitely a firm believer in that with all the like I guess Joe Rogan speaks about it all the time and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Obviously. Yeah.
Now, those trips to the beach, were you a surfer or just?
Yeah. So down at on the weekends we'd go down to Parsons and Waipinga down in SA, and
Don't you have great white sharks there too?
Huge amount. Yeah, it's a tuna sort of channel. So you get big tuna and lots of great white sharks down there, and the water's usually black, so you can't see a thing.
Good.
So you just you probably don't want to see a thing. Yeah.
No,
it's nice.
Ignorance is bliss. That sounds terrifying.
That's right. Yeah, but we'd go out there, camp on the beach for 2 or 3 days, and you'd come back a bit crunchy from all the salt because no showers or anything at the beach out that remote. But yeah, it was a good teen years growing up for sure.
That's good living.
Yeah, no mobiles, no anything. So
no,
it's
nothing.
just
go.
Just waves and. I don't think there was any rescue out there either.
Oh shit, no.
But you don't think about that as a teenager. You just go out and enjoy it.
You're invincible, mate. And you got to tell me, like in your high school years, what was the sort of stuff that you're into? Were you a car guy? Were you a tech guy?
I became a car guy after I got my license, but I'd say before that it was all tech. Yeah, it was just learning and learning about anything new and whatnot. So my mum got me my first computer when I was like 6 or 7. I think it was like green screen. like not even, one colour computer.
So
and
before 386. So
I had a XT and then a 286. There was about 4 generations before that, And so I got to, and I was one of the first people in SA to get on the internet at 14.4. No, it was 9600 before 14.4K a second. So it was quite a journey there. But as soon as I got on the internet, basically I was playing Commander Keen and a few of Duke Nukem and all those kind of games back then. But then
Captain Comic, did you get that?
exactly, and and then as soon as the internet came about, I just started building web pages like crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, I started just creating things and learning that I could build menu systems and operate online operating systems and stuff.
And how did that start? Like, because again, that stuff, you just had to code like HTML code.
Yeah, it was HTML code. Early days it was we were using like bulletin board services. So that was the first thing. It was before the proper interconnected internet. There was bulletin board services. So we used to run, I guess, I think they were called like wares back then. Pirate Bay style stuff. But it was more distributed bulletin board services where people would subscribe to our system.
So was that like when you were learning, you jumped straight into bulletin boards, or was this
Stuff like that?
later?
Yeah, so that was about. I think we were about.
So I'm trying to pick the year here.
Was that like 12? I think by that stage, the bulletin boards were starting to come in. 12 or 13 was that. Before that, we were just building basic web pages.
So what year would that have been?
That was 1991 sort of thing.
1991.
91, I think 80, I probably got online for the first few times in 86, 88 and 90s. And then, but that wasn't full online. That was, like I said, we'd use systems to circumnavigate around Telstra to get bigger reach and stuff like that. Yeah, there was a little bit of data online and stuff like that.
That's pretty early.
Stuff very early, yeah.
That's pretty early.
And there was no sort of security back then, so there was way to, like, I think when we were running our first servers for all the Wear servers and stuff like that, there was ways to get extra lines into your house and certain things like that that allowed us to do what we could do, because it was extremely expensive for data back then and whatnot. As a kid, you couldn't afford those things, so you'd have to find ways around it. But I think that's where Pirate Bay was so influential in a certain way, because it was basically Netflix and all those kind of things, because it hadn't been corporatized yet. Same with forums. Forums were social media before they'd been corporatized, and people didn't care about making maximum money. People cared about, they built a forum because they were passionate about their
community.
They built community, exactly right. Whereas social media is there to capitalize on community and create an addictive system that really maximizes usage. It's all geared towards that, which is pretty nefarious, but it is with the age we're in, and you've got to be blessed with social media, but at the same time you've got to be mindful of what it does to you.
Because those forum days, for those of us who were there, are very memorable times, because that to me was the first time I found other weirdos like me who were like super obsessed with their shitboxes.
Definitely, yeah. That's I think forums is definitely I think my heart's still there in regards to the communities and that we grew up around. We grew up in NissanSilvia.com and Hardtuned. Especially in Adelaide, and I guess we had clubs in every state as well as in the States and US as well at that stage.
So we're jumping miles ahead here, aren't we? So
cut it back.
Yeah, cut it back. And this is the joy of just following, the story of your life. So you've gone, at school, hardcore tech guy, got a license, because I'm trying to see how all these roads intersect.
Okay, so I was I was a tinker, I guess. I like to hack, like 5110, Nokia 5110. You got the Samsung T100. There was a lot of cool phones coming out where they started coming out with color screens and whatnot. So we worked out ways to flash them, cut them back, and basically clean up the OS and install our own ROMs basically for the OS and stuff like that. So you're always limited to like 64 and then 128. Contacts and things like that, but then we found that memory was being used in silly messaging things that no one ever used, or this, that, and the other. So you chop all that out, and you'd be able to double your amount of contact lists and things like that with inside the phone. So we're doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
Because that stuff was a real problem. Remember how you keep your numbers on your SIM?
Yeah, exactly. Numbers on the SIM and stuff like that. So as soon as they opened up to be able to start loading it onto memory on the phone, but what I found is that even back in those days, there was bloatware from the manufacturer that wasn't used. So that's where we built these ROMs, and we didn't even charge for it. They just gave it away online, but it was just...
You just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
You're like, I made a thing.
Exactly. So I did a lot of the GUI stuff in the front end side of things, and then I was working with a few programmers overseas and things on just, just on those sort of like GitHub is now, like the developer sort of forums, and just building.
But again, you found each other, like tech people.
Yeah.
Found other tech people, and you went, hey, we're all doing the same stuff.
That's it. Exactly right. Yeah.
And it was so exciting as well. Like those early...
Well, you're not doing it for money. You're not doing it for anything. You're just doing it because there's a challenge, and can I win by like turning something into something I want, or something that's an expression
Absolutely.
of me. And that's why I think I got drawn to cars so heavily, is because it's the same. I can't drive a stock car. It has to be tweaked or adjusted to what I want.
And that makes a lot of sense. Again, as these stories start converging, going that, you were customising and building things, and then naturally you get a car and you go, well, hang on, I don't like this, this and this. I reckon if we do...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I mean that extends it to today. Like I think with Hardtuned, and it's why we've found it quite hard to get more designers on board and things like that. We've got a team we work with, and a few different people that do all the design, but I still do the majority of the development, design, and product development, because I think, like I said, it's just it's more of an expression of me in a certain way, and people seem to resound with it. So it's hard to shift that, but that's been the learning curve across of Hardtuned is I guess making what people want versus that's the difference between an artist and a designer.
I think so too, and I've certainly seen a lot of the stuff that you've developed, and it feels like artist. It feels the true expressions of, you just go, I like this, I made this.
Yeah.
And then other people,
I think, and that's the frustration of artists. You can spend 40, 80, 120 hours on a single design, and you'll sell 50 pieces. And then I think with the Trump one we did during the first time he got in, and just did a silly meme thing and printed it, and we sold like a few thousand. Or the Harambe a monkey T-shirt we did. Gosh, that was thousands upon thousands of T-shirts, and it was just 5 minutes on a Friday.
It's the great struggle of true art, is stuff that you put huge amounts of effort into, and it just bombs and doesn't go anywhere. And it's the throwaway ideas. You're like,
Well, I talked to Bryce about that a lot. Our videographer, Bryce, does amazing work, and it's not the quality always, it's the content that you're shooting that's important, and the story, and like you said,
it's the vibe, mate. It's the story.
It's the vibe and the story, yeah.
Because I don't, I'm not coming to you for business advice. I'm not here to, find that out. Like, business is relatively straightforward. Like, do the thing, make the margin, keep your overheads low, and then just keep following the steps. I'm interested in the journey of you, of how you built this, because to make something, there are so many hurdles that one must overcome. And I actually saw a wonderful quote from old Mr. Musk the other day that, if you need encouragement to start a business, don't start, because it's like chewing glass and staring into the void. And I went, that's a very accurate assessment. I would never encourage anyone to start their own thing, because it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I think what I've learned is don't listen to the people closest to you on those things. Like, it sounds terrible. Like, you've got your friends for your friends sort of thing, and they're people you enjoy hanging out with. But always chase down whatever the question is, and obviously with ChatGPT, you can use that heavily now. But yeah, I guess if I need to have advice on buying a property, I'll just go and seek out the most knowledgeable person that's bought the most properties that I can find. Just because somebody's fantastic at business or fantastic at finance doesn't mean they're good at property, or vice versa.
Shit, no.
I'm not going to ask my bank manager about how to build a car or anything like that. It's understanding that where you get your advice and who you should listen to. I think Hardtuned would have started as a clothing label. Hardtuned would have started a lot earlier. If I hadn't, why would anybody wear car clothes? Why would anybody want to wear a T-shirt with a car on it, or proudly announce that, or anything like that?
Because it makes no sense when you put your mind back in that time as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and meanwhile they were wearing Unit and Jet Pilot and all those kind of brands that already sort of started, and were cool at that stage. But but that's motocross.
Oh, motocross, because, mate, that was crusty demons of dirt, and I was watching the shit out of those on VHS. And
Exactly.
I'm like, all this is fucking sick.
But and that's what I said is that it's the same. We had option video and Drift Tengoku and all those kind of things, And so that's where I think when we put the bullet, and we didn't realise until we actually launched that first hoodie. I think
you went, whoa. Because, again, we've jumped ahead. This is
Massively.
the fun thing. It's such an exciting story that it does. Like, so you started it as a car club.
So we started,
Because I don't really know this story.
I had a web, I was okay in high school. I bored a lot, I think. Bored, and I'd stay up all night till 2 a.m. programming and whatnot on the computer. Then I'd be tired for school. And so I was a C grade average student, I think. And was not really, I was interested, but I found that I did it and then it was moving too slowly. So I could do the work, but I just wasn't committed, and I didn't see purpose in what I was learning. Like, I couldn't see a functional point of what I was learning for a lot of things, and my parents would not let me choose this. I was not allowed to do IT. I was not allowed to do art. I was not allowed to do anything to do with cars or anything like that. No way.
That blows me away.
Because they're like, you already know it. You'll be even more bored. You could probably teach the teachers how to do that. That's what they said. And I was just like, and they go, you'll get an A guaranteed. So I said, don't you want an A? Isn't that the value? And they're like, the A is the product. No, you need to learn. And so it was Maths 1, Maths 2, Physics, Chem, Biology, I think, yeah.
Do you know, that's actually pretty good advice.
Yeah.
And the things that they made you do are actually pretty handy in other obscure ways.
Yeah, it is definitely. Later in life, you don't realise, that weird thing that you learned in school.
Having a math background in tech.
Definitely, it's it's good, and I mean, I enjoyed school, but I was a bit of a troublemaker in a way, and so.
Tell me about that.
Well, just getting into fights and just generally not taking authority very well and things like that. I left Glenunga. I went to Glenunga International High School, which was over the other side of town, which was a good school, and was there till year 10, I think it was. Then went to Christian Brothers College after that because my parents thought I needed a good Christian education to straighten me out.
It'll straighten you out?
Yeah, that's it. I think my dad probably asked them if they could beat me, but I think they'd abolished that by that stage.
Just missed out.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it was quite interesting going from a public school, which was an international school with a lot of international students, through to a Christian school and private school. I think the level of education was the same, but the sense of community and brotherhood and that look after your mates was heavily instilled. The sense of community and the sense of leadership was heavily instilled in the private school, which was quite good. Even though the actual education was exactly the same, pretty much.
That's an interesting observation.
Like I think it's like the guy that you would fight with in the schoolyard. If it came to you were out and about and there was some other school guys picking on that guy that you were picking on, you would step up and look after him because
take care of them.
You've got that.
You are bonded.
You're bonded, exactly. Of that brotherhood or that whatnot.
That common cause.
That common cause. So that was nice, and I've met some of my lifetime friends from there. I've probably got 2 friends that are very close still from there, where I don't really speak to many people from the other school that much. And then through year 11, I think I left there. Start of year 12, I decided to leave. I was not trouble, but I think I wanted to go a different path because things were starting to take off. Some of my websites were starting to boom, and then my best friend at Christian Brothers, actually, his mother was working for Fording Pharmaceuticals, so. They said, well, we're building this new thing for the internet. Loz, you're good at the internet. And so they pulled me in for an interview in year 12.
Oh, wow.
And basically, I showed them all the things I was doing, and they were like, "Oh,
They
you probably shouldn't tell us about the circumventing Telstra and doing all these
keep
naughty
those bits
things."
quiet.
But that's pretty cool what you're doing. So they offered me a job on the spot,
Oh,
and
wow.
worked pharma for 9 years.
Mate, straight to pharma.
Pharmaceuticals for 9 years.
Of all the places.
Yeah.
Of all the places for a mad car story to start. IT and internet for a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it was, and that was good. I had a lot of fantastic mentors over the time. Got to see like 2-3 hostile takeovers and all the heavy corporate stuff. So it was
Wow.
because
they're a serious business.
Yeah, definitely. So we were, I think, back in this was sort of, what is it? Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. That was still a $2 billion business back then. So it was like quite a large company. Like $2 billion back then is a lot more than $2 billion now. That's for sure.
Sure is.
And I guess being part of that, and they sort of didn't know where to put the internet. So I was the internet guy, but I was in the IT department. Then I was in communications, then I was in the executive office, then I was like, they kept shifting me around everywhere, and with all the restructures.
And for a long time it was, there was the bubble and the burst and there was that,
Y2K,
mate,
definitely. Yeah.
All those things that happened through late 90s, early 2000s where like the internet is a fad.
Yeah.
Like it didn't turn a corner till the iPhone came out. That to me was the...
That's it, yeah, exactly. And once it got mobile, that's right, exactly, yeah. So I guess my main task was building all the intranets, so all the internal internets for the company. So we built a similar thing to Facebook, but so you'd have a photo of the staff employee, what they do, what their position is, and so we built the whole sort of corporate structure there so that you could contact the right people from the right departments internally and whatnot.
Right.
So I built all that for them, and
which is pretty full on for a young bloke.
Yeah.
With no specific training, like, so you didn't go and...
No, we didn't do anything. Like, I guess it was just on the job learning.
Just
like,
self-taught.
I had to learn, ASP and all the Microsoft architecture and framework for all the back end sort of infrastructure as well.
Was that difficult for you, or just same?
Not really. Had good mentor. Had a good mentor. Just one guy above me that when I was a teenager and to about 22, 23. But then when they moved me to executive office during that restructure, they basically culled the whole IT department. So even all my mentors, everybody was gone.
Oh, shit.
And they kept me for some reason. So that was lucky. But for I saved from the chopping block. But at the same time, it was a bit daunting because then I had to sort of stand on my own 2 feet in a certain way when it became main pharma and whatnot.
Which would have been overwhelming, considering the scale of what you're responsible for as well.
Yeah, no, it was. It was good. Like I think when people believe in you and people believe in a certain direction, and we just had a job to do, I guess. And that was the thing, going from one corporate to another. Yeah, corporate. What is it? I guess not environment, but like what do they call it? Like the feel or the morale in one company could be so different to another. And I guess you look at Google and that, where they put fitballs and like make all these happy spaces, and that doesn't always work. There's I think forwarding was phenomenal in the way that looked after families, the way they gave extra leave for families. They had every 3 months they did big family days where they put on huge barbies and everything on the weekend for everybody to be like. So the CEO would be standing next to the factory workers, next to whoever, and you'd all just hang out together. And they really fostered that, which was fantastic. So I look back at forwarding especially for how good a experience it was, and
because that's extraordinary for a company that big, and that always, well, in my experience, comes from the top down. There is somebody in a controlling position saying, no, this will happen this way.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and so that's what's so full on as well. Yeah, it's a pretty horrible story. Yeah, so Ed Twiddell, who was I was reporting to, I guess, the executive officer, and Ed Twiddell was the CEO at the time. And after when there was a hostile takeover on the share market with Main, he committed suicide a few weeks later, which was quite sad because he was a brilliant guy that had done some amazing things, and he had a heap of other businesses like Nepenthe Wines and other things in the go. And but it shows that even though you've achieved so much in your life, you can be still.
'Cause what happened there? And you don't have to share, but what were the circumstances that led to
the hostile
that?
the takeover, or
and such a severe outcome for
well, no one, obviously that's between the family what happened there. I'm not sure. I wasn't that close to find out exactly what occurred there, but yeah, obviously, it shook a lot of people when that happened. But the hostel, I mean, it was seen as negative because Main was a trucking company. That was Main Logistics, so it was a huge trucking company all through thing, and
they just came and bought out shares,
just bought Main. Then they bought every private hospital in Australia. Then they bought what was there? They were looking at buying other pharmaceutical companies. We had Terry White Chemists. We had Chemmart. We had they just acquire everything.
Yeah. So theoretically came out of nowhere, but there was probably huge money behind it and a big orchestrated step.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, it was brilliant because I got relocated to Melbourne, so the head office in Melbourne, and I guess we did some amazing things like integrating every private hospital in Australia into the intranet system that I built and all that, and a lot of those cool projects.
Really? So it came out of that very unpleasant time, but you were then thrust into this significantly bigger machine and significantly more diverse, and gone, righto, IT boy, make it go.
That's right. And I can't, there was, when Main took over, there was also Brett and a few other guys that came onto the scene that came from Main as well. So it was cool. And I worked more on the hospital side of things. So looking at redoing all their, like we talked about earlier before the podcast, is I think that's my biggest driver is efficiency, and when I can see things that can be streamlined, or I hate, I guess with the hospitals, for example, the policies and procedures that are in place, every single private hospital had a different policy and procedure for things, so streamlining all that, going, this is the way it's done now, and going through to every hospital and training them all up and doing all that.
Can I get an amen? Because if something takes you 10 seconds, but you do it 4,000 times a year, and you can make that 10 seconds go away.
Yeah, and so I was seen as a bit of a bad guy sometimes, going into the warehouses, especially like looking at streamlining all the warehouse processes, because they're like, oh, you're taking our jobs. The same now with AI and whatnot. And I'm like, well, to me, I thought of it as I'm saving people from a life of administration hell. Go and do something better with your life in a way than fill out a form. Okay, it used to be that, you'd apply for leave, so you'd fill out a piece of paper, and then the office girl would then type it into the machine, and then it would get something somewhere else, and then they'd print it out and put it or file it away. And I'm like, craziness, and it's just...
And that stuff, oddly, is what drives me mental, and I spend inordinate amounts of time. That's my joke, is that I'm a very lazy man, and I go, what the fuck would you do that for? Fix something, build something. You work very hard to get rid of any mild inconvenience.
Me to a T, yeah, exactly. It's just like out of your laziness at core, you work much harder.
So hard. Makes me so proud.
Yeah, I think that's why I've started looking into, started deep diving into the whole home automation thing with the new house build, and it's a rabbit hole.
How gangster is that? Have you found the open source stuff?
Yeah, definitely.
What's that?
Yeah, I mean, even just
that fills me with hope.
Yeah,
would you believe?
Well, I think everything comes from open source. I think open source or the porn industry.
Mate, they are.
Sounds weird.
No, I totally agree with you. And see, we're both old enough that we've seen enough cycles. That's where all the magic happens. They are leading the industry, and they will dictate the direction, and then somebody will fuck it up.
Definitely. And then it becomes corporatized, and the narcissistic CEOs come in and go, we can make money from this. And
whereas the true believers who are there developing the things, because I'm all about that. Like, I make my own electronics and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
And, hillbilly things into other things, and you're
that's right. I hack all the RoboVax is my favourite one.
It's just ones and zeros, mate.
Yeah, that's right. So I think the one at the Mayfair office is like R2D2, and it makes all the noises, and when it bumps into things, I've programmed it to do different functions and whatnot. And that was a fun project, I think. But yeah, so back to Main. Yeah, I think it was a good time. I think when it was folding still, that's when Hardtuned sort of started. That was when NissanSilvia.com started.
Right.
So that was the forums.
So let's segue over into that story. Yeah. How did that get off the ground?
So
at what point did
97 was when I bought a domain called, what was it, pandablue.com. Pandablue, that was the name of my first web development agency. that I was doing on the side, as well as the forwarding things, and just building sites for. I think we did the Australian Institute of Business, a few other. It was called Gibberan Management Institute back then. There was a few Balfours, which was pies, pasties, and sausage roll down SA. There was a few different ones, and so. Yeah, basically I did my thing and then I realised it wasn't working, so I just put in pandablue.com/Nissan Silvia and then installed a forum on there. And that was the seed that started it all.
That's hilarious.
But it's probably a funnier seed was why I started all that was, I think, when you're 16 and a half, 17, you just got your P's and you want your first car. And I was just like, I love those Evos. There was the Evo 5 had just come out, and the Evo 5 had just come out, and so I went to Mitsubishi Dealer and wanted an Evo 5, and they said, we don't sell Evo 5s. What are you talking about? This, that, and the other. And I remember looking, and they had all these Lancers, and they're like, you mean the body kit for this one? And then they priced it all up, a Lancer CE coupe with a body kit for an Evo 5 and a Canon exhaust out the back, and it was like 38 grand back then, so it's huge money.
Which was monster money.
And then
a car was 12 grand.
At 17% interest, so 17 or 18% interest.
Ouch.
And he goes, we can have it ready for the end of the week, blah, blah, blah. Just sign here. And when it was pressured, I was just like, you know what, this is bullshit. And I said, I sort of said, okay, just give me the paperwork. No, it might be gone tomorrow. Because they see a 17-year-old kid.
They go, we're going to stitch him up.
Yeah, for sure. And so I was just like, no. Forcefully said, no, just give me the paper. And I said, what's that red car in the showroom that they had on a giant display, like rotating? And that was a Mitsubishi GTO. And I was just like, oh yeah. And he goes, if you work hard, for a while in your life, you'll be able to afford one of those. And I'm like, okay, that's a big kind of thing. But yeah, cool. Fair enough at that point because I couldn't afford it.
That was a car for surgeons.
So when I took that away, I thought about it. I'm like, this car's going to cost me like 80 grand by the end of the time. And I'm like, a house back then was 200 grand. That's insane for a CE Lancer coupe, which is worth about $400 now. So I said, there's got to be a better way. And so we started looking at Jap import. My friends were around having beers at I think it must have been almost 18 at that stage. And we decided, imports were the way to go. And so we got, the S13 was what I settled on. And so we got an Autech manual S13 non-turbo and with an SR20 in it. And I think I paid 17 grand for that, which was so cheap. Because this is a car that was only 4 years old or whatever, not even, 4 years old, 5 years old at that stage.
Wow.
So the S14 Gen 1 had only just come out at that stage. Wow. So when you sort
with
of...
the ANOs,
the sort of the mega wide body Camry sort of thing. Camry coupe almost it looks like. So the S13 was what sent me on that path. And then we end up, had one of the first Soras in the country, and that was one of the first S13s in the country. So, it was all very new at that stage.
Because what year was that?
That was 90, probably would have been 98, I'd say. 90,
yeah, that's pretty early.
Pretty early, yeah. So, it was cool going through that, and then, looking at Nissan Silvia. Just as soon as we bought that it started off. It was Wood, one of the other S13 owners that I met was really cool, and so a boost controller hadn't come out yet, and so he had actually built he had a big board like that in his car sitting under the stereo, and he goes, and I put a little LCD screen and I can control the boost level to my car with that. And he ended up working for engineering in a race team later in life, but it was quite interesting the things he was building, and I just started documenting everything he was doing, and same I did a parcel shelf with the 6x9s and how to cut it out and do this and all those kind of builds, and then how to change your oil, and all this we translated the service manuals and all those kind of things because there was none of that grey import data available.
There was no information. You'd get things you'd get stuff from the relevant country, Japan, and everything would just be in Japanese. You didn't have the magic that you have now.
That's right.
It was so much harder to get information.
Yeah, exactly. So it's yeah, and so that's where, and then once it became a forum where we started accepting people, I remember it was Cafe Buongiorno's in Rundle Street, and we had I think 5 or 6 of us, and one of them was my best friend that lives around the corner here now still, and I've known him since I was 5 years old, and he was one of the first guys at that first meeting, and initial Steve on the forums.
Amazing.
And yeah, so he had a 180, and yeah, and that obviously, yeah, NissanSilvia.com as a forum grew and grew and grew, like farther that I couldn't believe. And I guess, yeah, working 9 to 5, but then having that, it got to a stage where I was just like, why am I still working? But I thought you got to work. There was no idea that you could actually go out by yourself and make your own money. It still hadn't clicked with me. It was just a forum. It was just a community.
Not like that too. Like that wasn't.
Yeah.
That wasn't really a path.
Yeah, and I think the majority of the money that was made at that stage for the forums was going back into other sponsorships or events or different things.
Because even just your hosting would have been
huge, yeah,
pretty monstrous.
We had
traffic. 3
or 4 servers, I think. For yeah, it was at least 30 grand, 40 grand, I think, a year in hosting or whatever. Yeah. And big credit to Andrew from Boost Cruising, because obviously Boost Cruising was big up in Queensland. We didn't really know too much about it because we were from SA at the time. But Andrew was pinnacle to helping us with the hosting and getting all the data side of things in the back end. So, yeah, he great guy, absolutely.
He's a silent legend. I've caught up with him for lunch, and I've tried to convince him to do this, and I think we're just going to have to slowly peer pressure him because he is a man of few words.
Yeah.
But that influence and the technology guys who drove this, you know, like yourself and him as well, were critical to what happened next in the building of these automotive communities.
Definitely, yeah. It was
the IT blokes.
Yeah, it was funny. It was always a thing like that because we were, I think, 3 or 4 years running. NissanSilvia.com was the biggest automotive website in Australia. And so we're getting, I think it was 2 million hits a day or whatever it was. And yeah, I think Andrew was saying at that stage, he's like, looking at the service stats, Boost Cruising's bigger, not NissanSilvia.com. So you shouldn't have got the award or this, that, and the other. But I think it was just some friendly banter in a way. But
absolutely.
But yeah, you know, I mean, obviously he helped so much in Hardtuned, and he was a passionate car guy as well, you know, and it all came for the same reasons. And so, and I think it was the same like Skylines Australia, you know, you got Oz Rotary, all those old school forums.
So many, mate. Performance forums. Like there were so many.
Forums,
I was on a lot of forums.
Yeah.
Because they were amazing.
Exactly, that's right. And each would have its own vibe. Like I remember whenever you'd cut across the Skylines Australia, it would be much more serious and certain tone and this and the other. And I'm sure they saw NissanSilvia.com people as sort of feral, bogus sort of thing in a certain way. And like some of the forums we had were obviously a bit more loose. But I think performance forums was very similar, which was off topics and all that.
It had a dry intelligence to it. Was its thing, and like lots of in-jokes, and if you didn't get the in-jokes, you were out.
Yeah. So.
And Boost Cruising, I found, was just, it was just out of control.
Yeah.
In the best possible way. Like it was just shit-talking, and, you know, the off-topic sections and how fun they were.
Definitely.
Like just garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was just hilarious.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's quite crazy. Yeah, like thinking about and how much data was in the back end of those things is phenomenal.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like it's just the databases required and the server structures and the I guess redundancy when things would go down because
you weren't vibe coding those bad boys. Like you actually had to know what you're doing. I've looked at PHP bulletin boards and I'm like, I don't know enough shit to deal with these.
And when we'd have a couple of hours outage, it was the same as if there's outage on Facebook Messenger now. People use it on a daily basis and it impacts so many people. And keeping hold of that, and same with the scammers, and there was still that. There's not as prevalent as today, but you know there was a lot of that.
But I lived on it. Like I was working at a gym, and so like there were big hours where there was just fuck all happening, and I'd just sit on the forums all day because nobody knew how to use the computers.
I think our top 46 moderators and administrators that we had. I think the biggest we got to was like 72 team, and most of those people would live on the forums all day in their 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, nobody knew, and if you worked on any sort of computer at that point in time, like it was all voodoo to other people.
That's right, yeah. And so yeah, it was hard balancing. Yeah, obviously the 9 to 5 job that I had,
Which was massive.
yeah, because it was quite busy. So yeah, doing that after hours. But that's where I think having NissanSilvia.com could have never happened without all the hours that everybody put in, like and doing it as a passion project. Like, I think that's what upsets me so much about social media in a way now is like I'm far out looking at the ad costs and the thing. We would have been making hundreds of, like probably $1 million a month in the traffic volumes, which would have been able to pay for all those staff to be, thing. I would have loved to have been able to do all that kind of stuff, back in the day.
Like you were selling banners and stuff. I'm trying to remember ways that stuff was monetized.
Yeah, you sell banners.
People would sponsor sections and there were different things like that.
And that was the thing is that so say we had 10 grand or whatever coming in a month or whatever, like half of that or a third of that would go to sponsor to servers and maintenance, and then there'd be all the events we were running throughout all the different states and stuff.
In that.
And there was no profit in it, but at the same time.
But it didn't matter. You weren't running it for profit. You were building community because you're like, this is amazing.
This is exactly right, and that's and that was I think Hardtuned was one of the first to monetize, and I think then I told Andrew about how to monetize it all or whatever, and he started monetizing then SAU and whatnot. But
because just to cover those costs, because to float that.
Well, the good thing is it all stays in the community. The money stayed in the community, and the money stayed into, like even Tim Possingham, who runs Adelaide Motorsport Festival. I mean, we sponsored him for the first one of the first Adelaide rallies, and stuff like that. It's just being able to do stuff like that. And now he is a figurehead of motorsports in Adelaide.
And that's magical. See, I love that. Like lifting up, because it's just the people. They're just your circle of friends.
Oh, well, that's it. Yeah, I was literally talking to Tim yesterday, because we do a lot of the marketing for the Motorsport Festival, and it's so cool to see like he's still in that industry, still doing a lot of cool stuff, and that event is incredible. If you're in Adelaide or even if you're Melbourne, fly in, go and see it.
What they've done is extraordinary, and the timing is extraordinary because you've got all the F1 teams in town. Like, it is a true credit to them what they have built.
Yeah, I think what have they got this year? Mad Mike's, the Rotor McLaren, which is kind of cool, and they got a lot of really cool cars.
Mate, that is a Lanzante built car, and people who don't know that name don't understand how fucking special it is. Like that is pimp my ride for billionaires. Like that's right, exactly, unbelievable. Yeah, that car.
And then even last year, I think seeing the Bolide 2 Zondas and the Brabham, in a row. It's just insane.
We're living in a magical time for car people.
That's right, yeah, definitely.
But jump all the way back, because I want to know about this transition time where you sort of went, I'm going to do more of this. So tell me about how that started and like the first bits of merch, and because I can sort of feel those stories coming.
So yeah, definitely. So when Maine started, said we're splitting up the company now. We've bought everything that we want. Now we're going to take all the profitable parts and sell off all the other businesses that we don't want to manage anymore, which is good. They're like very smart operators from an executive level. I'm sure they all got very, very rich out of the whole deal. But obviously, from folding, it was quite sad to see it destroy like people that had been working for 40 years and things like that. But anyway, they said, okay, well, hospitals are splitting off. We're splitting off pharma. We're splitting off healthcare. We're splitting off the pharmacies. You can jump into one of those companies and be the I guess intranet manager for one of those, but it's going to be a step back from what you were dealing with before. So I'm like, and I think the person I was reporting to at the time just said to me, actually no, it wasn't that. It was one of the executives that said it to me, I think. And he said, Loz, when did you start? He goes, you were 17 when you started this company. He goes, you were the youngest employee in this company. He goes, all your mates went to uni, did this, did that. He goes, you have not lived. He goes, we'll sort you out a pay packet or whatever. We'll make you redundant and go and travel. He said, go and travel the world. He goes, go overseas somewhere. And at that stage, Hardtuned was or NissanSilvia.com was quite big at that stage. And so I said, you know what, like it is taking up so much of my time with all this car stuff as well. let's go ham on that. And so that's when it was a forum. There was no clothing yet or anything like that. And so I used that time, went to the States, went to Europe, did the whole trip around the world, and spent, I think it was like 6 months or whatever, 8 months overseas, and learnt a lot. And then came back, and in Adelaide we went a lot harder with Hardtuned, Nissan Silvia, and focused on that. And then I got a chance call saying, "Oh, I love." It was Ryan McLeod and Paul Morris up here. So Racer Industries. They said, "Oh, you're the place to advertise for this new company we're starting." And I looked at it, I said, "Your website's crap. Like, this is not good. This is not good. Like, you can do something with it." And he's like, "Well, come up." And so it was a chance meeting, came up. And
really?
it was just a room with a laptop, Ryan, me, and Sarah, one of the other, Ryan's sister-in-law. And we sat there, and Racer Industries obviously started from that spreadsheet, and Ryan was running around the country, internationally, trying to get all these contracts with Sparco and OMP and get all the different raceware to build Racer Industries. And so I came up there. I thought it was just he thought it was just, Loz is just going to build me a website and then leave. And then he quickly realised that building a full e-commerce website's not a 1 month thing; it's a permanent thing. So
it's a process. Really? So that was that sort of your first big e-com? Because a lot of the stuff you'd been doing was infrastructure.
Well, it was infrastructure and forums. So
And then you went e-com. You went right.
Yeah. So we I wasn't really doing too much other than we were selling subscriptions. I had a subscription model for Hardtuned and whatnot. But that was I'd done Balfour's and obviously Chemmart, Terry White Chemists, all their e-com. So.
But see, e-com wasn't, and again, I'm trying to pick the year here. What point in time was this?
Yeah, that wasn't e-com. That was so even Chemmart and Terry White Chemists, that wasn't, you couldn't buy online.
No,
it was just
2012 is about the earliest I can think of where I actually had like legitimate clients selling stuff on the internet. Back when people were like, "Well, who's going to buy stuff on the internet?" Like, it was so weird.
Yeah, and so that's right. And so we came up and we set up all that, and that was good. And that was my first taste of Gold Coast. And I guess what I found was, after travelling overseas and going back to my hometown, I felt claustrophobic. I felt like I'd outgrown the town, and that being away for 8 months and growing as a person, I came back and it felt like nothing had changed. And I hated the idea that nothing had changed. I wanted to be where there was a pulse, sort of thing. And Adelaide's an absolutely stunning city, but it didn't feel progressive enough, sort of thing. Whereas I saw Gold Coast, there's a lot more entrepreneurs up here. There's a lot more international people that are travelling around. Not international people that are migrated, but migrant people, sort of thing, that are transient. And so it really called to me, and so I ended up staying up here. And it was. I remember at Racer, I was with some of the NissanSilvia.com guys from our Queensland chapter, and we were sitting around. I was like, we should do a hoodie, and I designed the hoodie. Which do we have it here? Or
Mate,
I think the original
the OG,
hoodie, the first one, the black one so we had 4 Silvias, and then it had an SR20 on the back, like a SR20 engine on the back. And I designed that in Photoshop, and I just put it up there with a PayPal buy now button, and we sold, like, how many was it? Like a couple of thousand, I think it was, in just from a photo. And I said, this is a pre-order. It'll take us 1 to 2 months to make it. And as soon as we launched it, and we just started seeing that PayPal go like that.
And you went, that's weird.
I said, far out. Now we've got all this money. Now I've got to make all this stuff. And so...
Shit. Because had you ever made those things before? Or?
No, I hadn't. So we chose a company, Lifestyles Australia. They do a lot of the what is it? Like, I guess white label manufacturing and whatnot. And
in the middle of the office.
Yeah, wait a sec. Yeah. So where was I? Okay, Lifestyles Australia ended up printing those for us, and so they turned out well. They're on a Gildan hoodie, and they were reasonable quality, and it was quite cool to see how it got out there, and it showed that we had a market and a captive audience. And so I was just like, you know what, we could start making more merch. And it came at a fantastic time. It was like the saving grace in a way, because what we had started to see was MySpace starting to come in. And MySpace starting to come in, and so our traffic, which was like millions a month, was within the space of 6 months sharply declined, and I think all the forums experienced it. Everybody experienced it, while the traffic just shifted to social media.
It was catastrophic for forums at that time.
So yeah, that was quite interesting, because that shift there dropped, and basically all the drivers and people and events and things like that were like, oh, you know, Loz, because it was like Hardtuned was known by everybody, or Nissan Silvia.com was known by everybody. So, Loz, can we sponsor? Oh, Loz, can we have money for this or money for that or this and the other? And so when they all came to me and they're like, oh yeah, no, I've set up this Facebook page, or I've set up this MySpace thing for my club or my thing. Can I have some money for sponsorship? And it's just like, oh, actually, you know, all our profits have disappeared because everybody left and went to there. So maybe go ask MySpace for some sponsorship. Oh, they wouldn't sponsor me. Of course not. But, you know, that was what was keeping it in the community. And so the money would recycle and be put to better things in a way where... I think that's the sad thing, is that I see social media as a leech on it all in a certain way, you know. It's
yes.
They don't give back to the communities the support at all.
Mate, they rob it blind, and then they're big enough that they don't pay tax because they just buy countries.
Exactly, that's right.
Through that.
So, which is sad. I mean, you do get that. Like, I mean, obviously, people have done quite well out of YouTube and things like that. Like, so content producers that are producing decent stuff, they can make money from some of those.
But it's a prison as well.
But that's more YouTube, I think, not.
It is, and that's not a great existence from people I know who have done that. Like, it's hard graft for cents on the dollar.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't own the platform, which is always critical.
That's the problem. You don't own the platform. So, perfect example, like obviously Mark Street Effects, like losing his, the huge page, 7 million or 8 million, you know, followers or whatever, and just to turn it off one day and have to rebuild from scratch was that's just rough as hell.
And that's the worst lesson to learn, that you're on somebody else's.
That's right, yeah. But I mean, Mark's a resourceful guy, so he's built thing after thing after thing. So I've been around the world with him as well, and had some amazing times. So yeah, I think it's all about community at the end of the day, and that's what I say about, like, you can travel around the world, and the first time you travel around the world, you're like, oh, look, the Eiffel Tower, oh, look, the thing. You do the sightseeing thing, you want to see the key things. Oh, people want to go down to Hiroshima in Japan. I've never actually been to Hiroshima in Japan, but I don't get excited by those things. Same with, your parents are from the concentration camps. Do you go to Auschwitz?
Mazda's near Hiroshima.
Yeah, Mazda, exactly, yeah. But that's what I find. I'm like, well, no, I want to go to the things that, the Toyota Museum, Nissan thing. Me and Bez, videographer from Melbourne, we had a chance opportunity to dyno tune a GT3, Nissan GTR GT3 engine on an engine dyno inside the Nissan factory, like stuff like that, like cool experiences like that is what I'm right into.
Because that, and I'm right there with you, mate, like when you get the chance to do obscure things with the stuff that you love, with people who enjoy it, like it's irreplaceable. There is actually nothing better in my existence than somebody rings you and goes, oh, mate, come here, have a look at this. You got to come and see it. And you're like, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. It's the experiences and the times you have and the people you meet.
Yeah, and the people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think even the hot laps with forest, like I mean, I drift myself, and I've been in a lot of drift cars, but the street track at Long Beach with Forest was just like within 5 seconds, all you see is white. And I'm like, there's concrete like this, and it's a tight track. Like, how is this even happening? And you just, there's the brake lights. Okay, he knows to transition at this angle here. And I'm like, how do you even be able to do that course? I can steer, but I can't. I'm not that good, and that blew me away. You know, and just.
But to get the chance to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
That's
the thing. Chase that rather than things.
Absolutely, because you go, I'm an IT guy that started a forum that sold a hoodie, then went, yikes, now I'm drifting Long Beach. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's,
what?
It's quite cool, yeah. But
I remember your gold S chassis at Parklands.
Ah, yeah.
Like, I remember that thing. Like, you've
That's
been
it.
doing this since, there's now
Yeah.
accommodation where that...
So that's it.
used
Yeah,
to
that
be.
guy, I think that gold when you look at the total stats, that gold S14, 15 front, Strawberry Face 14, has had more views than any Silvia in the world ever.
I have no doubt.
Because it was in the top right hand corner of the site, and when you add up the total traffic, it's I think like 10 billion or 100 billion sort of views. It's quite crazy when you look at the work. But I think like everything is just like you look at the stats of things, and like you said, adding zeros, it's just once it gets to a certain number. It's like the lotteries. People don't know the difference between like LMCT or the lottery in regards to odds. Once you get to a big number like that, it makes no difference, sort of thing. So
it's all just,
it's quite interesting. But yeah, I guess. Looking at how it went though, we were very lucky in that the merch started to take off at the same time. So there was a sort of crossover where the forums died, the merch took off, and I remember I asked Ryan, can we borrow the warehouse for a weekend because we're going to be packing a lot of hoodies, and he rocked in and was like, oh, holy shit, because it was just like pallets and pallets and pallets of hoodies. And he goes, you've sold all these already? And I'm like, yeah.
And he's the one building a big e-com business, and you're like,
yeah,
look what I just did by accident.
But it's a kudo because at least he knew he had the right person working for him.
He definitely had that. But see, I didn't actually realise you were so heavily involved in racer industries. I wasn't across that. Story.
So races was about 5 years. So I wasn't working for them permanently. I had an office there and was a consultant to them and contracting to them. And so I'd work on Hardtuned probably 50% of the time, 70% of the time, and then I'd just bill the hours that I was working for Racer. But it was good because I had a base to work out of.
Absolutely.
And so yeah.
And people in the same field. You had
people in the same
car
field,
guys, e-com, IT. Like you found yourself with your people.
That's right, yeah. And Paul, I learned a lot from Paul. I learned a lot from Ryan as well, from the industry side of things. And while people go, why were you working for Racer on an hourly wage when your other business and I think I didn't leave Racer until I had 2 or 3 staff. And so my 2 or 3 staff were working at my house while I was going to work at Racer for them. But I think it was the allure of, because we had Norwell at the racetrack there. So being able to drive with Paul and the times he took, was teaching me how to steer and whatnot. And I mean, that's, again, an experience to learn from a V8 supercar driver is incredible. And
that facility is amazing.
And his facility is incredible. Oh, and we did drift days out there. When I was working out there, we until the council just killed all the fun. We had some incredible comps out there, and with me and Levi were out there quite a bit. It was just such a good vibe. And then that's the same. I think that was the reason I didn't leave Racer for a long time was I really loved the work. I really enjoyed the work.
And that's the thing I've noticed because I was at Norwell the other week. I've got an episode coming up with Harps.
Oh yeah.
Who was working out of there with his program. Like that place has a community. So I saw Andrew Price walks past and gives me the 1 finger salute, which I wave back to him, and you're like, it's the boys, and then they're like, right, come on, you're coming out on track, and I'm like, what? Like there's just a vibe there that they've built of car people who want to be there.
That's right. Most of the guys have been there forever, I think.
And then behind the counter, I actually saw a young Hennick who's making his way through the. And I'm like, hang on a second.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, watching. Was it Jack Perkins at the back making the stickers in one of the back sheds, and I was just walking through the sheds, and I'm like, oh, what is that? And it's just like, hey, a V8 supercar driver that's just cutting stickers. But that's the thing is that's
magic.
And that's exactly people don't see that. People think, oh, they put people on a pedestal, but those kind of people. It's the same as I think Tony Quinn, like watching him sweep the track with his own hands. That's what keeps it real. That's
that community building leadership. The same thing that you saw at the pharmaceutical company. Like that is from the top down. This is how we do things.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what we expect.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good. And yeah, I enjoy, like, I think racer, knowing that I think a quarter of the field of V8 supercars was running my liveries that I designed, and just being able to work with, I know all the big guys, Castrol, who else was there? Like was it King G car was fun. What else? What other cars were fun? Obviously the cool drive cars. There was oh gosh, I'd have to go through there's just hundreds of liveries that we did.
You've done so much that you can't even remember how many cool things you've done.
Yeah,
it
was fun. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, I think that's the thing, is that just drawing the concept on paper and then seeing it come to fruition, and a car that's racing around the track is such a cool vibe. I think,
But it's the ultimate for a designer when you see your stuff coming to life like that.
Well, yeah, I remember being 8 years old, and it was NASCAR. It was an absolutely terrible game on like, I think 386, and they had a paint editor that you could design the livery yourself, and I spent hundreds of hours on that as an 8-year-old, and then obviously Need for Speed Underground 2. That's everybody's thing, isn't it?
In my head, Need for Speed Underground 2.
Yeah.
Like sitting there modifying hours, just making the thing look sick.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did we all miss that was the thing? Like
That's
that was
right.
the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Was
And
that design.
I think that's the scary thing with a lot of the builds that we've done as well, is that I think there's a lot of people out there that are the same. I know Stance Hughes the same, where the build is the fun in a way, and once the car's built, you're like, oh yeah, I'll drive it a few times, but you're not like, it's not about the drive, it's about the actual building something special.
The journey, not the destination.
That's right.
Which is an annoying thing to find out.
Yeah, definitely.
That you go, that's the best bit.
Definitely.
Like watching Christian Bedawai get those, your Evo, how it vents out the bonnet.
Oh, yeah.
I was in his shop when the amount of time he spent getting those angles right so that the lines flowed, and it's watching an artist at work.
Yeah, no, definitely. Christian does some great work.
It's magical.
Yeah, for sure. It's that Evo.
Because those boys, and Michael as well, those guys, they're on another planet.
Definitely.
With their abilities.
Yeah, they exactly like I think Mike says, a mad scientist in a certain way. And,
totally.
Yeah, it's there's some fantastic some of the fabrication. I think even all the stair rails and all the other stuff. There's a heap of stuff that Mike's done around the way.
Really?
Yeah, so he's built all that for us.
He's a silent assassin, that man.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
Holy
so always got time for him, and he's the heart that he's put into that GDR has been fantastic as well. So yeah, it's a good thing.
For people who don't or might not know what you're talking about, do you want to just explain that GDR, just because that is a pretty special build?
Yeah, so we got a 35 roller, 35 GDR rolling shell, and it was an ex-Targa West car from Western Australia, and so I had full heavy cage in it. I think seam welded in areas and just stripped, so there was nothing left in it. I think it was bought at auction. They took all the bits off it and then had the shell left. So I said, we'll take the shell, and so we got hold of the shell, and then we were like, what do we put in it? And then we got hold of a Barra of all things. So we were like, let's make a 600, 800 horsepower Barra. And I'm like, well, originally it started as what's a cheap power. Let's do a thrasher that kind of looks cool and it's a bit trashy.
And Michael loves a Barra.
Yeah, that's right. And so we put a Barra in there, and we looked at it, and it looks a bit sad. And there's such a huge engine bay and this tiny little straight six in there. And I was like, but it'll work, I'll do this. And then a friend from WA actually called me and said, Loz, I wouldn't believe what came up on Marketplace. And I'm like, what's that? And he goes, Dodge Viper. Dodge, when they brought the Viper in, they only sold like 10 or 15 Vipers in Australia. They brought in 3 crate engines for parts or for servicing, or if something happened with those cars. And there's one of them just left that's been sitting in the thing all wrapped up. And I was just like, oh yeah. And so I called the guy up, and he had like massive, like $100 million yachts and all sorts of stuff, big mining guy. He's like, oh yeah, I had that for the Vipers we were building. We wanted like a 1800, so I bought a spare engine for another like big power Viper and wanted to do this and just never got around to it. So he goes, what are you doing with it? And we had a chat and this, that, and the other, and he sold it to me for a very fantastic price. And he's just like, that's sick. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Oh, far out. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Yeah, what do you offer for me for it? And I said, this much. He's like, oh, done. Yep, done. Perfect. Send it there. And he's just like, yeah.
That's a car guy going mad props to another car guy.
That's right, and you see that all the time, and that's
All the time.
at the racetrack or whatnot. Even if it's a competitive team or whatever, in grassroots drifting or grassroots racing. Oh, have you got this part? Run work garage to garage. Oh shit, we're missing this part, and you help each other out. And
It's my favourite thing about drifting.
yeah, it's you don't see that in all motorsports,
You
but
do not.
to be fair though, even Super 2 and stuff like that, when I remember going through the paddock, because when I was working for V8s, like you go through the main game and it was just like it's all quite professional and corporate, and then you go across to Super 2 and it's just like Barbie in the pits and just
Mate, that's the best though. That's my
Yeah.
problem is I've gone and done elite stuff and I'm like, like Ferrari in Europe, it's one of my favourite things. They've got a transporter that folds out like it's Optimus Prime and they can seat 100 people in there and they've got chefs making you food.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool. But like doing a hibachi in the car park at a Bizu with a carton of beers next to you and you're like, all me.
perfect. Yeah,
That every day of the week.
That's it. Yeah. Kudos to all the guys that are in at Matsuri over in Ibisu and eating packet noodles to be there.
There's
like
a lot of
it's
that.
A lot of that, and
Like-
and it's
Mate, Rio's team, they came over because we met them, and we were feeding those boys because I'd went and spent $1,000 on had to buy everything, didn't have a hibachi.
Yeah.
Just so, and the boys are like, oh, do you mind? And we're like, yeah, we can get into it and have a beer. And they had literally pot noodles sleeping on somebody's floor to be at a bisu.
Yeah.
And I'm there going, you guys are true believers.
Yeah, that's right.
True believers. They were it was the best day ever being able to feed those boys, and they just thought it was Christmas.
And I think that's why we've with the people we've sponsored and things like that. I think Naoki is one of those really Naoki Nakamura is so grassroots in that way, but he's a pro level driver. He's one of the best drivers in the world in his field. But yeah, it's just wants money for tyres to drift. And that's it. That's the beginning and end of the business plan.
That's church.
And it's just and that's so cool because it shows a passionate focus on one core thing is to be the best, and to see obviously now dad and son competing over there and stuff like that is crazy, and so we're looking forward to getting behind what happens with his children as well.
It's so crazy because just beautiful people. You can figure the rest out, and again, you can get commercialization from hanging out with smart people, but that sort of relentless dedication, you can't teach that.
No.
And that takes you a lot further than anything else.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting dedicating your life like that, and I think that's why I think with everybody can respect an artist in that way. They're not going to die rich most of the time and whatnot, but when you're passionate about something, you can create something beautiful. And I guess, and the same with Forrest Wang. Forrest Wang is a perfect example of that sort of grassroots style coming into pro level motorsport. And I guess looking at some of the driver lineup we've got this year, it's
because your driver lineup's insane.
Yeah,
the people you support globally, it's, and again, they're just your mates, but step back and you go, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a few years ago when we were in Sweden doing some stuff with the Swedish Drift Brothers and Reese over there and whatnot, that was some really cool times before we had kids. But I think when you talked about that fold out trailer, I remember they had one and it was quite crazy because they had the flip down beds as well. So the cars would go out and then all the beds would flip down like that, like a bunker. And then the whole team slept in there in the semi, and that was and I think Forrest got a very cool semi as well and stuff like that. And so obviously some dedicated people there, but very different to the way the Japs do it, I think, because in Japan, you've got the you've got those open trailers, and it's quite a different thing.
It is so different, wildly different. But I think that's what makes it fun. Is
definitely, and the type of driving as well. Obviously, America's all about big power skids, whereas Japan's tight technical and sort of more exciting from a driver's perspective. If you're into the sport, then it's quite. I think the majority of the crowd likes to see the big smoke show. America's always driven towards all their sports are driven towards whatever the spectator wants.
Bigger and better.
Bigger and better. Exactly.
Whereas I must say, I went to my first Ibisu Matsuri last year, and I went, that is not a spectator event. Like that is if you're fully mad obsessed, but if you were going as a punter, thinking like QR Matsuri is more designed for a spectator than a Bisu Matsuri is. A Bisu Matsuri is for the driver. That is just pure drifting, in my most humble opinion.
Definitely. And Abyssus, it's got so many courses that are like whatever you're into. You've got the big long entry stuff. You've got tight technical. I like North course personally, and the Togate course is fun, but it rips your bars to pieces. But a lot of those are a lot of fun. But and that's the same. I think Japan, you can have so much. Japan's my number one place to go to. I think not just because I love Japanese cars, but because I think the variety of things you can do while you're over there, it's
it's an alternate universe, proudly.
It's
definitely their own place, their own way, because.
That's right, and exactly, like it's in its own bubble,
totally.
Sort of thing. Yeah, it's no inflation at all. You can still buy a can of Coke for $1 at a 7-Eleven.
It's very simple, but. Mate, we'll be getting somewhere near the end of your available time. You've got to tell me.
That's fine. We can. If it needs to blow over, we can, or whatever.
Well, I'm being conscious. I've probably got 20 minutes, give or take.
That's fine.
I'm trying to be reasonable. I know you've got things to do. You've got to tell me a little bit about what the journey has been like of this business, because it has come from that first hoodie to, we are sitting in a warehouse. Like you got a lot of people kicking around. There's people picking and packing and all sorts of things. I mean, what's that journey been like for you? That growth journey, because that can be quite a painful experience. Or like, what has that been like?
It's. I wouldn't say it's painful. I think a lot of it has just been doing what we love, and hey, look, it's making money. That's good, but let's just keep creating what we want to create. And only now it's with the amount of staff we've got now and with the setup we've got now, it's started to need some formal structure. But before that, it was just mates having fun, really. And so even when it was at my other house. And we built it up. That was in the back 3 bedrooms of the house, and put racking in there, and then moved to the shed, and then built a bigger shed, and then a bigger shed, and then a bigger shed, and now we've got 1,800 square meters or whatever now of space now. It's quite good. Walking into this place and just having a look. I didn't even look at the house that was on the property. I was just walked in and said, "This shed's wicked."
I'm at the age where the shed is the only thing I'm interested in. If it has a house, I don't really care. The shed.
The shed is the thing, and that's why everybody comes here. You've turned into a giant man cave, basically, and that's the vibe we wanted. Pinball machines and simulators and just other extracurricular activities, or just the drift trikes to zoom around the property.
These are all the things that my wife wouldn't let me keep at home, which is the only reason I've never ever needed an office, is to keep all the dumb shit.
That's right, yeah. And then, my wife's too entrepreneurial. She saw the warehouse and was like, there could be a lot of room for my business. And so
you're like,
she's slowly moving across the warehouse, and maybe we're going to have to get another one. But it's good to see that inspiration wear off on her, though, and all the things she's doing. So it's good.
But that's really wonderful. So it really has become, and you've brought a lot of people up too. I think is the thing that I've noticed over the years, is there's a lot of people who have started, as you're. Working with you, and they've sort of gone on to bigger and better things as well. Yeah,
definitely. Well, I think I can't say that I did it all myself. No entrepreneur, no person that's created a business can do that. It's about the people that are around you, and the people. And it's not just my hard work; it's all the hard work of everybody around me. And I've seen that with. I guess even back when I was 17, 18, having that mentor. There was two people that really stood out there, especially Adrian, back in my farmer days, and his level that he taught me in that first year or two made such an impact long term, and same with Ryan, same with Paul, a lot of other people, Catherine, and so I guess that's where I've taken on a bit of a mentorship thing to a lot of people as well. I think especially, I think the big standout there is probably Luke Morgan with Mayfair and things like that. He was our marketing manager for a long time with Hardtuned, did some great work with us, and then obviously saw that that could be expanded and given to other people as well. So to be able to see Mayfair leverage up so many other businesses and basically replicate what they've done for Hardtuned for everybody else is great, you know. And so it's interesting, and with the changing landscape now, I think he's going through a similar thing that Hardtuned went through, where, you know, there's disruption in the marketplace with AI and stuff like that. Hey, ads management may not be around in 2-3 years. How do we pivot? How do we adjust? How do we, you know, really offer value in a certain way? And those decisions need to be made. And I think you can be fearful or you can be excited for the future. You know,
just go like hell.
Yeah, just exactly go like hell. And I think that's the thing. AI will have its place, but I think there'll be a big pushback on its use in certain ways. We don't want to become completely dependent on it. I don't think.
As an educated gambler, my gamble is human connection, because that's the thing that was already missing, and we are accelerating that, which is why I'm like quadruple down on person-to-person stuff, because that's to me where the value lies.
Social media is so antisocial, it's not funny in a certain way. And that's the thing, is that maybe I'm old school like that though, but you know, when COVID hit, a lot of Hardtuned it caused a lot of disruption, because suddenly it turned into Zoom meetings, whereas I was doing loops around the world, going to all the different offices and stuff and catching up with people and having that one-on-ones, and all that got lost in COVID, you know, because we weren't having that interpersonal connection. So it just, people lose drive when they're not around, you know, a leader's energy to be able to do things, or to even just go, hey, why the fuck am I doing this? You know, why am I doing this sort of thing? Am I allowed to swear? Sorry.
Oh yeah. There's no rules here, mate. This isn't a real show.
Yeah, but exactly, you know, and that's the thing, is that I really miss that. Being able to travel and to see everyone, you know, because a Zoom meeting's cool, but it's not the same.
It's not the same, and I literally insist on face-to-face meetings, on working face-to-face with my clients, because that's where we see the greatest success. Is it, like, all the learning is in this. Like I will pull 20 or 30 minutes a month from people's, and basically we talk shit most of the time. But you pull a few things out of them and you go, that's the little bit of magic that we needed. You need the little thing that's kicking around, and then you can help drill in on that. Yeah. Like, to me, that is actually the next few years, because I'm old enough that I remember when, like, white labelling email marketing software was actually viable businesses. There were people who were just reselling, like, Vision 6 and stuff. Yeah. That was their whole business.
That's right.
And I try and fathom that now, and you're like...
Yeah, that's right. It's and I think that's the interesting thing with AI, is because like in the SaaS game and stuff like that, like, I think we're doing a lot of that with Mayfair at the moment, and as a business, and it's good, but it is moving so quickly that you've got to really get in and implement and like, it's, the time frames are so short now that it's quite interesting.
Because the same as, I always find the most interesting things, and the best thing to ask is, like, the people around, like, what are they doing from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m? It's the stuff that you're fucking around with at night. So like when you're pulling your phones apart and doing, like, that's actually the next wave.
Yeah, I'm very much like that. I think I do all my best work in the middle of the night. Yeah. Mate,
that's my go time is 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's where all my fucking crazy...
Yeah, and that's the same. Even if I've gone to sleep or whatever, I'll usually do that witching hour thing of 2 or 3 a.m. and I have a notepad beside my bed, because a lot of my ideas come to me, and I'll be able to wake up, just scribble it on a piece of paper, and then try and head back to sleep. Yeah, exactly.
And then make sure you read it the next day and you're like,
what the...
Monkey dishwasher... What?
That's right.
Double monkey dishwasher.
That's right. Yeah, I know if it's going to, when I'm in that frame, then I know I just got to get up and get to the office and just actually start working on it. But I look at that actually probably. It's funny. It's usually there or the shower Shower. Sometimes in the shower, you'll always have a good idea.
That's the magical place too, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think maybe it's body temperature, and then you get to free your mind.
The sensory disconnect, finding ways to...
Yeah. Well, I think that's when it comes to you and calls to you at that stage, because it's your subconscious, and it's defragging at that stage. You know, like it's all the information that you've collected throughout that day is starting to make sense to your subconscious.
Defrag is a term I haven't heard for a hot minute, but that is exactly what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of, because it's all jumbled everywhere, and then your mind's just sorting it all out. And I think, it's an interesting one like that actually. Yeah, watching my grandmother go through dementia, it was to see the recession back to childhood, and so she was just asking for her sister, her 8-year-old sister. You know, where's my sister? Where's this? Where's that? And it's quite crazy that if you ask me questions about my childhood when I was 8 and 6, and it's vague. I mean, you asked me what I did 2 weeks ago, it's probably still vague, but the fact that it's still stored in your brain, and that she wouldn't remember all that stuff a year ago, but then it all came back to her, so it's all obviously in there. And I think my best friend from Adelaide actually said that last week on one of the calls. He said, you know, you shouldn't, I'm more excited. He goes, it's terrifying in certain ways. I'm more excited because they keep telling us we're only using 10% of our brain. What if AI unlocks? Because for AI to do what a human brain can do, the amount of power and energy, it's completely inefficient. It's a very, very inefficient tool. So how can it take us over in a certain way, unless we treat it as a god? But the thing is how about you look at it a different way, where AI can help unlock the human brain, and we can increase our brain capacity from 10% to 30%. Imagine being 3 times smarter than what you are right now. No.
Honestly, that's what I've found that, you know, I have very good pattern recognition is the gift. And what I can do is I can put obscure things. I'll have a thought, I'll throw it into AI and go, hey, is there a link between X, Y, and Z? And it, in 30 seconds, you know, rather than having to spend my 6 hours at night, like reading, the speed you can test concepts, and the speed you can test theories, and the speed you can test ideas.
Exactly.
Like you've taken it from days of research to 12 seconds.
Yeah.
And then your iteration development, and then making them work together, like getting different AIs that are specialised in different things talking to each other.
Exactly.
And cross-checking their work. Like that stuff stuff I'm doing with that at the moment in the middle of the night is like blowing my fucking mind.
Yeah, it's very cool, isn't it? Yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like with any new tool that we're given. So long as the right people will make amazing things out of it, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the wrong people will just make, you know, drones take us out or something.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I think that's the thing. I don't think that AI is a Terminator at heart. You know, it's trained from humans, and it's the humans that are the problem.
Always.
Always. You know, like all the tribalism and the go my local sports team, whoever they may be. You know, why do you go for those guys? Because I live in that area, sort of thing. It's do people have free thought in that way?
And that, because again, you look at what we're living through at the moment, and the polarisation of the online disagreement, the fact that we can't find sort of neutral ground because the loudest voices at the furthest extremes are the loudest. Whereas I have found, in my experience, talking to person, even with people that like philosophically believe different things, we can still have a reasonable agreement or discussion person to person.
That's right.
But I think that goes out the window.
I think that's why anxiety, like they said, even within Microsoft alone, people in the AI department are having huge anxiety issues, and like psychologists, they've got in-house psychologists and stuff, because A, they're worried about whether they're just building something to be replaced, or B, what are they working on, and is it we shouldn't be going down this path, you know, and there's all this anxiety of what they're doing, and that's the thing, is that, you know, the more people know, and that's why I think there'll be a pushback to a simpler time in certain ways, or the complete disconnect. Like that's what I said to Kat, is that maybe we do, like when we were in Fiji for New Year's, like just leave the phone in the thing. Don't take it for the day. You don't need it. I think when I did my round of the trip, my mentor said, don't take a phone, and that was freaking painful. not having GPS, not having everything, not taking a phone and using payphones to call back to home. But incredible because you're in the moment every single day and you've got to rely on your own self. And
it forces you to, because they are dopamine generating devices and we're just stupid monkeys that learn to reflect. Most of us don't realise that we're stupid monkeys.
Perfect analogy.
Most of us think that we're pretty smart, but you know, any work in marketing over a couple of years and you'll go, wow, people are dumb as dog shit. Like in their own, people follow the bouncing ball. We're actually
That's
not.
right.
We're very, very easy to manipulate.
We're very, obviously needs driven at the start, sort of thing. When you have a certain amount of thing, you can be easily led.
Absolutely, because we fall back to our emotional sort of
Emotion,
very
exactly.
simple buttons, and you push the simple button, and you get the
response.
desired response, and you go, ugh.
Yeah, it's.
So
I think it's a hard one in marketing because obviously you get blinded after a while. You spend years in marketing and you're like, people won't fall for that because you know all the tricks of the trade or all the things, and then you see another company launch the most. You're like, that will never work, and then they have an absolutely bonkers sale because people just go, oh yeah, that made sense to them. They don't see through it, and same like GE Finance and all the other things that have gotten so big, or buy now pay laters and all that. It's phenomenal, Like, but it makes sense for capitalism to work. There's no point teaching people financial literacy.
No, there's a reason why it's not taught.
That's right.
There's a reason why you turn 18 and you know nothing about. You have no financial literacy, no political literacy.
No, of course not.
Not by accident.
Because then you start calling people out left, right, and centre.
Because you go, that's pretty fucked.
Yeah.
And you don't figure it out till later when you're exhausted, and then you're not of any great challenge.
And that's why anybody over 40 is pretty cranky. and totally. A conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so cranky because it's just the whittling down of age, and you go, for fuck's sake, like really?
Yeah.
Really?
Definitely.
But again, we get to, our little people, the people we work with, you sort of get to instill and guide.
Oh, I think that's the thing is that I was a little person sort of thing in that stage, and like very naive little 17-year-old in a big corporate company and this, that and the other. And it's, surrounding yourself with people that have truly have your best interests at heart and aren't there to just use your skills or take advantage of it. Obviously, you need to add value to whoever you do, but they're there to sort of look after you. That's what most people want, and that's where I think the whole, I guess, you look at Christianity with the Good Shepherd, like a Good Shepherd leads his flock to a positive outcome, whereas there's too much of that in this world where, you can guide people in a certain direction. Like, I think that's why I guess I'm against gambling companies and stuff like that. It's like, hey, look, you could change your life, $1 million, billion, whatever, this, that and the other. And are they really helping people? Not really, of course, but yeah.
Not enough, because
enough.
Most people that win lose it.
Yeah.
Because you think about what you've had to learn to have any commercial success is daily, diligent discipline.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing else that allows you to grow commercially.
Yeah.
And if you don't have those disciplines, like the money will just see you later.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing. That's where there's that big call for billionaires or people. Like, it's been proved. It's so obvious that the system that's been developed with capitalism is obviously top heavy in regards to. I think what is it? Is it the top 100 people in Australia made more than everybody else in the whole country. It combined. Like when you think about it in those terms, it's insane. So what's the how do you then do you force them, or is there a moral duty to then give that money back in a certain way to socialism? But then obviously socialism's a bad word, even though that's what Labor government is pretty much.
Absolutely, but it doesn't drive innovation, and that's always my struggle with it.
With socialism
is taking doesn't provide innovation. Whereas again, you think about the start of your story. It was actually the greatest horrors that created very hard-working, very disciplined, very focused humans.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it requires effort and making things easier, because you think about how easy life is now, people are not happier, whereas our basic needs are all met and people are miserable.
That's right, yeah.
Because we lack, we actually don't have to put in as much to existence, whereas we're still, fight or flight
Yeah.
chimpanzees living in caves.
Well, that's the whole conspiracy theory, isn't it? With create, divide and conquer, like create division between people, and they're not going to be looking at what the real problems are.
And when you read, your ancient Roman, the keep people entertained,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's all they need is a roof over the basic necessities. But yeah, exactly. And maybe that's true, but where it heads from here with AI
and the interconnectedness. But truly, I think it goes back to community. I swear to you that there is an opportunity for bulletin boards to have a resurgence, for communities like that. The red camera stuff. Would you believe, like, to this day, there is still a bulletin board forum. It was one of the things I enjoyed the most in like 2015 when I first started working in their ecosystem. And Jared Land, that's actually how he got involved in the company. Was he ran a bulletin board, and that was actually how he got involved in the camera company. When Jim Channard started it, was that he ran the forum, and you're just there going, hang on, and they're still running that forum because they are such a wonderful community-led thing, and there's now a generation that is in their 20s, and they don't really know about this thing. And when it has a chance to come round, the cycle is 30 years.
I think,
We're not far off.
I think that's what led me to, apart from 911s being an incredible drive, that's what led me down the Porsche path as well, is that I had nostalgia in going, old boys never actually left the forums. They never made it to social media. And so when I bought my first 911, jumping back into online forums just as a user, and being able to see all the conversations and chat on a forum again, it did create some sort of nice feelings again, because I miss those days. I really do.
I miss them too, and you're right, the old boys didn't. I've got a Cayenne, and I laugh at how helpful the forums are.
Yeah. Oh, well, you can find the data, like, just that was the most painful thing, I think, when we tried social media for how that community is in, and I guess performance forums group, like, what is it? It's just silly memes shared. That's it. That's all it is, and that's the problem. That was part of the forums, but it wasn't the core of the forums.
No, that provided the comedy, but you were actually there for the learning.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's the thing. But that's where I think the dopamine and the attention spans have come right back down, where I think you look at forum days and people used to chat for, like, they would put time and effort and rewrite their posts and their how-tos and all that in such a long format that, that time and care put in, people just don't.
If it was going to be, was it pinned or sticky? What was it?
Pinned or sticky, yeah. Once it's a good,
once it's a good one,
but
once
then
it hits that.
Yeah, for S chassis owners, what turbo do I run? What this, what that? And it's just,
Because that stuff was amazing. And it's like, before you post your dumb question, please refer to up the top.
Makes me wonder if I turn the NissanSilvia.com forums back on.
Mate, I'd flick that shit back on. Because there are people who don't understand the magic. And I swear to you, and this is just me with my insane pattern recognition that's dangerously accurate, there is a lust for the old. Like the 12-year-old next door, because I'm just a nerd that hoards weird old gear. My neighbour came over, Kevin, he's like, mate, you got any VHS? And I'm like, well, what do you want? I've got a broadcast camera, I've got a player, I've got a... because she's going through records, tapes, vinyl, VHS, and looking for... Because the kids are going... They're way smarter than we give them credit for. And they're going, I don't want more 6-second shit. I've heard about this stuff. Show me.
Sure, yeah. And I think it depends on the format, I guess. Yeah, it's sort of whether people read anymore. That's the thing that throws me, is that people, like, you read 2 paragraphs and then you trail off. Or do people? And I think that's the difference between consumer and creators as well.
I think so, but the proof is in the success of podcasting.
Yeah,
like, people want real conversations, and it's why this show is not edited. It is not, because it's what I want. I don't want curated. I don't want to be told what I'm supposed to think. I just want people to say whatever the fuck they
Yeah, it feels interesting because usually, obviously, when I talk about Hardtuned, it's we're deep diving into all the different builds and stuff like that, which is
look, I don't really care. Like I do, but I'm more interested in Loz. Like I don't, like what you build. Like that's cool, but that's not the bit that interests me. What interests me is the human who drives that. That is a consequence of. That's an outcome. It's not you. And so much more of Hardtuned now makes sense to me because that's the whole point of this show is selfish. I'm interested. And then it turns out other people are interested and they will listen for fucking hours. Like the listen and completion rates on this show are astonishing. Yeah. Like fucking astonishing. The percentages that finish the show. Like it blows my mind. When I think about all the curated shit I do for marketing and all the other things for platforms that you have to make it work, and it's going to be, you got 1/100th of a second to get people's attention and 6 seconds. Whereas this is just fucking meandering nonsense. That's what people want because they listen and then they listen back to back and then they share it. And all the stats that I get from Spotify blow my fucking mind because they're like, most shared, most watched. Like some of my stuff is like top 20% globally. And like this show is niche. Yeah. Like fucking niche. This is a tiny little show talking to a tiny little audience, but the people are so invested and it is exactly the same. So think back. I've got a Nissan S13. I need to know more shit about Nissan S13s. There is a lust and a need and a want to not be fucking sold anything, to not be curated, to just talk to me like I'm a human being. That laughs and cries and wonders and struggles and all that.
Yeah, I think, and you're right. I think there will be a pushback to that. Although, hopefully, we're not too lost before that comes about, sort of thing.
I see it happening now. It's already in process, and these are the things that I'm always scanning for, and it's already happening.
So your data points are pointing.
All my data points are lighting up, which is why, again, you look at all this stuff I'm doing now. I'm always too early. I'm always 3 years too early, and I know that. And so I know for years I'll be wrong until I'm not. Yeah,
I think it's interesting that, isn't it? Like I think as an investor or whatever, I look back in history and I'm like, far out. There's so many things I'm like, duh. Of course, Apple's going to be huge, but I never knew anything about investing, and I'm just like, duh. This like you take things for granted, but no matter what your field is, if you've got an interest in that and you know more, you've got more IP about it than anybody else,
you can make informed decisions.
Exactly right, yeah.
Like, mate, my shitbox investment portfolio outperforms any other investment vehicle that I have. My ability to predict shitboxes that I pay $1,000 for that will exponentially go up in money, like I am the fucking man, and I've been doing that since like late 90s, early 00s. Yeah. And it's just that bizarre niche knowledge.
That's right, yeah. I balls up on that one. The amount of 34 GDRs for 29 grand and the amount of I remember Christian told me I was a bit silly for it. He offered me a 34 NER Millennium Jade V-Spec 2 with about 30,000 on the clock for, I think it was 46k.
Fuck.
Yeah, so, and I said, oh no, I want a V36. Because it's a comfier car to drive us a daily, but I wasn't thinking from an investment perspective.
Well,
I've driven 34s many a time, and I was like, you know what, I want the first V36 in the country
because they were cool, but like they just sat around that.
Yeah, but and it was funny.
Where they went because the top of the market was 40 grand.
Yeah, and it was and that's the thing. Obviously that was the one that got away in a certain way. I regret my decision there every day, but. And with the hundreds of other 34s that came across my desk, but the thing is, I guess you've got to pick it, and that was one that you could sort of tell was going to happen, but not
to the extent.
Being just a dumb Aussie in a certain way, and not seeing we're still only on a tiny little island. We don't see the how big a market like America, especially as a powerhouse in I guess, economy-wise and whatnot, like how much of a very different status. And now even with Japan being $1.10 on the exchange rate, it's crazy for imports and stuff.
And it's funny how much that stuff matters.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And
Exactly.
how much geopolitics matters and how much those things will start making sense once you start getting older and trading in moving money in US dollars and going, oh my god.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I'm like, if anything, I wish I was born a little bit earlier. If anything, not later in a way, but yeah, because obviously, like you're looking at most of the people that have made big money online, other than obviously the tech guys with AI now. You're talking, what is it? For the majority, it's influencers and content creators on YouTube and things like that. And it's a huge amount of work. And even this podcast. I mean, kudos to the amount of work that goes into producing captivating and fresh content constantly.
Yeah, but it's the same reason that we do these things. I fucking love it. Like, I was up till 10 or 11 o'clock last night. Like, it takes me 4 or 5 hours to prep to make sure that everything's ready. And then I have all the gear laid out, I still get up and train, and then you're in the but like, this is the best fucking day ever.
It's not work. This
isn't a job. I am fortunate that I have work that allows me the time to do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. And so my Thursday is a podcast day. Yeah. And I just decided, I decided this year, like I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I went, that's now podcast day.
Yeah,
that's what I do. So that because I want to release an episode a week.
I'm surprised that I'm doing it on a scheduled time. See, that's where I differ in that way. I guess it doesn't feel like work to design jackets, design hoodies, to adjust the cuts and shapes and fits and to come up with new concepts. It's not work to me. I absolutely love it, but that's the thing, is the sporadic nature of it. I find that I'll go through a blast and be able to knock out half the year worth of content within a month, or whatever, or 3 weeks. But then I'll have these lulls or whatever. So how do you find this with keeping regularity like that?
So I have found, as much as I hate it, building disciplines to be creative is when I am my most successful creatively. I did a test. I think it was for like 6 months or something. I wanted to improve my writing, and so I wrote an article every day, like 7 days a week for 6 months, just for sport. And I think I was publishing on LinkedIn because I just wanted to get good at it. And I went, because I researched how to, because I wanted to know how to be better creatively. And the answer is the inspiration isn't going to come. You've got to put yourself in a position for the inspiration to appear. And I read about writers, and again, think back to why I do this podcast. It's wonderful. Again, my pattern recognition goes wild because it's always the same thing. All the markers are the same. All the markers light up. If you want to be good at your creative work, you go from whatever time of day. So for me, I don't sit meetings before 10 a.m. because I'm a fucking potato before 10 a.m. Like, I can't construct full sentences, which is quite funny. Like at the gym this morning at 6 a.m, I'm like, words come out not good. Like, astonishing for a bloke who can talk under wet cement. But I'm only functionally good between 10 and 2, and then I've got another window in the evening and then another window late at night, and they're the only time, they're when I function at my absolute highest, and I've mapped that. And so then if I build time into it, so same as this, when I have a routine and I can tell my team, you've got to turn the taps off there, Chief. I tell my team that this time is dedicated for me, and like my Fridays are my admin days. So having a framework for creative success is the way I have always been most creative.
Maybe I need to look into that then. I think,
read up on it. This is what I tell anybody, is don't listen to me, I'm a fucking idiot. Read, whenever I want to get good at something, I go, who's the best in the world? And then I work back from there. Because I figure if you aim for that, if you go, who's the best in the world, aim to be the best in the world at that thing, you'll be above average.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I think, Luke Huxham, who brilliant videographer I've always looked up to in his creative direction and things, and his eye for things is phenomenal. And he said to me once, what was it? You're only as good as the last thing you did.
Correct.
So, which is, don't become complacent, and always push to be better. Everything you do, constantly just improve, and that resounds. And don't be afraid to. I think that's the coolest thing, is looking back 20 years ago, and what did we produce 20 years ago, and even the ads, like Luke always says to me, ads was such garbage 15 years ago on Hardtuned. Like the what we said, buy our hoodie or whatever, and here's the advert, was just atrocious. But it sold better than, like, we're building these amazing video like ads now, and all this kind of like Bryce is putting this incredible content in, and I think it's because the whole world has progressed, obviously, but it's being the first in a certain way, doing it before anybody else. And it's the same with like Hardtuned. Like, so if somebody asked me today, would you start a car clothing business? Hell no. Oh no, no way. It's because we're established now and this and the other, but it's such a hard slog. It's like gym wear, it's starting to tighten up too much almost now, but gym wear's still like got good margins and good everything like this and the other. But yeah, there's being first to market is so important in a certain way.
Being early and being passionate, because it's that stuff where the excitement carries you through. And you've got me thinking.
That's
One of the things that I learnt from photography was I would always be by myself. So I would walk, 18 kilometres a day when I used to photograph a lot of car stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if I ever saw people huddled together or somebody was next to me talking, I'd say good day, but then I'd politely fuck off. Because if I was near somebody and something interesting, beautiful happened, 15 people would get it. Mm. And I'd always see people hanging out together. I'm like, fuck that. And I'd turn around 180 degrees and I'd go to the opposite place. Mm. And then I'd watch people start to migrate to where I was. And I'm like, right, later, mate. And then I would go and stand by myself. And I would always, wherever I saw people coming, I'm like, nah, I'm done. Because that in particular, once you see, and it's quite funny when I say it out loud, it does, I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but it's the crowd coming and all moving together. And it's that being out on your own. Like, I am most comfortable in silence by myself. I am actually not that talkative in real life. Like, this is a persona that I developed for this. I am actually very quiet, very introverted. I actually work exceptionally well because I've been testing it. I do my admin very well on a beanbag playing Fortnite. You know how it takes 6 minutes to sort of, like, I actually set up my Australian government digital ID, my RAM access, all these other things, because you can now pay the ATO by Amex. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's going to save me a fortune not running it through a third-party processor. So I went through all that fuckery while smashing out victory royales, because I can hit a flow state fairly well in that game. And I've realised that, and then I've gone, hang on, I can then do jobs that really piss me off and then do it in little 6-7 minute windows, and then play for 10 minutes. But I can do that there's a window of time where I can do that for a couple of hours.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I'm like wildly productive on shit I don't want to do.
I find that by breaking up the day as well. If I'm starting early in the day, then if I set something where I have to be somewhere off-site at a certain thing, I'm like, I'll try and cram important things in before that meeting, and something that would have taken me 4 hours to do, I can cram into an hour, because I'm just like, got to get done, because here's the strong deadline, because I was the kid that, like, you've got 3 months to do this, you do it in a week, and
Well, that's one of there's somebody's law, but time, what is it? Work expands to the time that's allocated.
That's right, 100%.
And that is the God's honest truth. Like,
building this house, I've seen that. It's amazing how much the speed at which the walls start going up when you've got a deadline to meet. Exactly.
Makes a huge difference. And that sort of stuff, because that's the point I'm at, where what's actually most important to me, like, I was on site with a client at like 8 a.m. yesterday because, like, they needed help, and they rang the bat phone and I'm like, no problems. But I said to them, I usually wouldn't start till 10 because at 8 a.m, getting my son dressed and walking him up to school is actually the most important thing I do that day.
Yeah.
That's what I do with that time because that's actually way more important. Because I used to, I don't know about you, but I just like back-to-back meetings thinking that the more I did, whereas now I actively do less. Like my first answer to everything is no. I don't go to stuff. I don't accept invitations.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And you'd be the same. You get invited to. You know, the opportunities and the piles of things that come your way would be insane.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like I sometimes think I don't know where my time has gone in that way because I look back when I was a teenager and I was hanging out at these things and like it was social. You got so many friends and you're catching up with all these people and almost you think of that quite fondly because it was some of your fun times. But at the same time, I guess it's the balance of productivity versus and whether you've sort of honed into what you want to do and what you really enjoy as well. Like I was a big gamer and I still play games occasionally at just as my wind down time and things like that. I'm currently playing like Arc Raiders or whatever. And
amazing,
it's crazy stuff. But I think that was the thing is where do you enjoy spending your time? Catching up. Yeah, I think the social side of things, I like to catch up with people that are, doing amazing like this, like exactly what you're doing with the podcast. Really, it's
doing incredible things
and getting inspiration and
because we're all just people, and that is one of the things that everything I've done has taught me is all the exceptional humans are just disciplined at whatever the thing is that they do. That's like the end.
Really?
That's it. The end.
So you start to see common patterns. Like what you said, you're the king of
astonishing.
Yeah.
Where we're up to, yours will be somewhere near episode 90, I think.
Wow.
So, and each person is generally 2 hours, usually 3, and you start doing the math on that, and you think about, again, pattern recognition's my great gift, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks somewhere along the line where I went, holy shit, like all this stuff just came together. Like when Keanu could finally see the Matrix, he finally saw the numbers. That happened to me, and I'm like, actually getting fucking chills saying that out loud. But like truly, that's what happened. I went, fuck, this is it. I've spent my whole life chasing things that I thought I was supposed to be doing and listening to people who told me stuff and it felt wrong and I did it because that's what they said I was supposed to do. I went, fuck that shit, flip the table, I'm doing everything. It's like George Costanza, the opposite George, if you,
It's definitely. It's interesting like that. Yeah, I found a commonality between most of the founders is that often and Dad said it to me a few years ago. Is just what is it? Travel light. Travel light is the number one thing, both in your head and like you can control a lot of things, but the less you own. Sort of thing, because people, there's a really interesting one actually that I read about agriculture as the thing that stuffed it all up. When humans were hunter-gatherers, they had you had to move with the seasons. You never actually had a fixed place of living, and so people had community and they had to interconnect, interrely on each other, and they would move from place to place, and they couldn't carry things. They couldn't have personal possessions. They may have a small thing. But when agriculture came in, you needed a house, and then somebody wanted a bigger house, and somebody wanted a bigger house, and somebody wanted and then it started to be competition against people rather than previously, society would be that it would move and you would be a common unit sort of thing.
And you couldn't refrigerate, you couldn't transport, you couldn't, you could salt things, but you couldn't, and all this stuff, and it allowed you to work with, I think these are the things that we've got wrong, is that not working with the seasons, the fact that you can, I think it's great that you can still only get mangoes. In December they appear, and you're like, oh hell yeah!
Yeah, that's right. It's
whereas everything you can sort of get year round, but it's it's not correct to what it should be
No, that's right. Although,
because we've artificially developed.
I mean, it's but that's why your half your fruit from Woolies goes off within 4 days of buying it, or 3 days. That's not supposed to happen, and people think that's normal. But something should be able to sit on your bench for a week or 2 weeks. No worries if it's fresh. But,
And I think the whole thing of being curious and then testing, because one of the things that I've found a great deal is people will give advice, but it's usually parroted advice. And you said it earlier, where you'll only talk to people for advice who have done the thing, and there is a vast gap of knowledge between those two things. And I just find that, like, constantly, I'm just an R&D man. I just like testing shit and breaking shit. And I have finally started applying that to my own life with everything. And that has actually probably been the biggest breakthrough. And I'm certainly far happier. And actually that leads me to another one. Are you familiar with that Harvard, the longitudinal study? This is my favourite thing.
Yeah.
Is I think it's 80 or 90 years old now, and they've got a group of people.
Oh, where they've studied them over.
That happiness, and that it is the strength of your interpersonal relationships that will dictate the quality of your life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that fucking blew my mind.
Yeah.
And that was when I was working too hard, wasn't seeing any people, wasn't seeing any friends, wasn't doing anything fun. Like, just everything was like trying to be laser focused on outcome, productivity, not the human.
And that's when you
experience.
were happiest or unhappiest?
That's when I was at my unhappiest.
Yeah, definitely.
When I switched it and spent time, relationships, events, destinations, getting people together, doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
That has been the most transformative time of my life, which leads me to now.
Yeah.
Because that's all I'm doing is just keep pulling the thread.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Looking for experiences, as you said earlier. That's the magic.
What is it? Yeah, I think I saw the Warren Buffett one. What did he say? He said, like if you're not happy, what is it? Or like, what is it? The secrets to a good marriage is finding somebody with low expectations, because it's expectations of outcomes that often can really affect your emotional levels and things like that. It's quite interesting, and it's true. Like people have when you have everybody has high expectations in a certain way. They expect a thing, but it's like the whole meet your idols sort of thing, and and sometimes they're not who you turn out to be, or driving that Countach. Yeah, I'm sure it's looks amazing,
but it can actually be very isolating.
Yeah,
and. Yeah. I've had those moments where, I've hit a certain level of success or driving a certain thing, and I'm like, fuck, I don't even have anyone to share this with. And those were actually very sad times where you've, sort of achieved success in terms of those sorts of things, but then you go, geez, I'm fucking void of...
I won't love any other car as much as I love that S13.
Yeah.
Like it just... It's funny that, I used to, every week polishing it, using the best polishes, the best this, making sure it was absolutely, the paint was immaculate all the time. And now I'll just send the GT3 through the roller wash.
Through the roller wash. I look at that too and I'm like, fuck, I cannot believe I do this, but I just don't care.
Exactly. It's sort of, maybe that's just growing up and having more responsibility, I don't know, but I think it's that purity of how much you sort of love something or love being in the moment and doing what you were doing as a child,
and working for it,
and working
because
it's not work exactly. You never considered it to be work, is it?
But you actually had to do an extraordinary amount of work to get that car, like to bring in a car from Japan in the 90s. Like, it's still tricky now, even with agents and all the things that work. Facilitating that at that point in time, like that was a real
huge
fucking mission. So when the thing finally arrived. How could you not love it?
I think for the first part of it, it was fantastic because there was no legislation and no rules. It's like the internet, The internet was a wild west in a heavy way. Now
they're the best times.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when you got to go like it. That's why I'm going like hell now.
Exactly, and like you said, even with that, that Home Assistant and stuff like that. It's Google can't keep up. Like none of the big players are as good in that area because you can't beat a big bunch of nerds
Oh,
that are willing
that are just
to
having fun.
that are just having fun
and
they're
going like
just
hell.
they're doing it to solve their own problems and then releasing it to the public.
Because they're irritated. Like my recent realisation is we just need an override button that plugs into OBD2 that's like the shut the fuck up button. We need the do not disturb for cars that makes them stop beeping.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I would buy the
Yeah.
shit out of that. And I'm like,
Yeah. Well, I'm guaranteed that sex robots are going to come before actual worker robots.
same as, the VHS, the porn industry, like that leads innovation because they don't fucking care. And that's why they're incredible.
Yeah.
And I promise you, mate, those Optimus robots are going to be doing
That's it. Yeah.
wild things.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's yeah, you can
Because that's not far off, because I'm going to buy one of those too. Like, mate, that fucking thing's going to be mowing my lawn and cleaning
working on your
the pool
car.
and working on, fuck, I would have way less broken cars if I had, I've got fucking 3 cars not working at the moment because I've broken shit on them and then don't have enough time to even allocate the headspace to fixing them. You just go to driving, put them in the shed and drive the ones that do work.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's why the little GR Yaris is my favourite car. It's a Toyota. It's reliable, works, and it's got a warranty.
Yeah, best cars.
Yeah,
that's old man life.
yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's. Yeah, I remember that driving the 14 as a daily, and solid coilovers and cage and stripped interior and all that kind of thing. And my dad got into it like, and he's like, "How can you drive this thing every day?" And I'm like, "I wouldn't have it any other way," And
But now when you're getting the groceries and then need to swing by the pharmacy and then need to,
it's just, Well, that's where the Yaris is best of both worlds. It's sort of, you can jump in and it's a Yaris, or you can put your foot down and it's a little rally car. So.
It's got a bit of party. But how good is that as well, that no boring cars? Again, we're in a magical place in time because it was a bit... The performance stuff really, like the 90s cars have been the heroes' cars for so long. Well, because that was such a pinnacle.
Well, I think Porsche gets it. Every other manufacturer ups its power every year. Porsche has stayed at that 500 horsepower for forever, and it's because it's about the drive. It's not about the stats. It's not about the EVs. Like when people talk, but my grocery getter is faster than any other sports car. You miss the point.
Yeah, it totally missed the point, and that's actually what I love about Porsche, and I'm really glad that. They made it through because Cayenne saved them. If they had to shit the bed on that, they were done.
Yeah, we'll see how we go now with the whole EV thing.
They were done.
Yeah, obviously they've gone.
The stuff's still pretty though.
Yeah, it's still. The new stuff just about to come out. It's fantastic. Yeah, so, looking at some of even the new Boxster and the new Cayenne. The Cayman is brilliant, and new Cayenne's amazing. But it'll be interesting to see. It'll take a bit for I think the wages to come up to match the inflation that most of these cars have had. It's quite.
I've given up on. All I ever wanted was a 1985 911 with a whale tail, and my friend's dad's got it, and I've been trying to buy it for 30 years. And like when they were 15 grand, 19 grand, nobody wanted them. They were a fucking wanker's car.
That's right.
And now they're just.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think 964 Turbo or 964 Carrera S is,
Whereas I just wanted they're naturally aspirated because, again, it's the sound, it's the feeling, it's the fact that if you get it wrong, you're going to die sideways.
That's right. It's actually surprising, like they say that with the Widowmaker and that, but the one we've got, it's surprisingly nimble and surprisingly quick. And looking at the Porsche Club times over at QR... You look at it and it's like obviously 992 GT3, 991 GT3, 997 GT3, but then there's that 76, I've forgotten his name, that's got the 1976, and his times are faster than my times in a GT3 992, and he's doing it in a 70s car, and that's a testament to those chassis and how, and not only that, and how big his balls are, because far out you need them for when you're going that speed in such a tiny little car. That's incredible.
Dancing on the limit.
That's it. It's why it's what made me want to roof my whole life is just watching Savile Rosa around Nürburgring, watching that drifting, no gloves, no helmet, just with a t-shirt on.
What a gangster! And
it sets an incredible time and sliding the whole thing. It's such a epic video. Of and the footage, the fact that it's grainy with a handy cam sort of thing out the side. It was probably like a giant camera at that stage, at 320p or whatever it was, like filming out of the helicopter around Nürburgring.
It's
incredible.
The greatest.
It is,
Mate, the Ayrton Senna footage of him
Same.
you know,
Yeah.
heel-toeing the NSX in his life.
That's
as-
right. Yeah. That's
yeah, like the greatest. And watching that just nonchalance of like, nah, and the fact that I think they made that car like doubled the stiffness of the chassis because he's like, no good.
Yeah.
And it's that, like,
That's it. It's sort of.
those are the things that we love.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's the sense of danger, isn't it? And I think that's the sad part with AI now is that the recognition that something real and extreme can block. Perfect example with gymkhanas and whatnot, like setting that bar and creating something wild that no one had ever done before. And now, unfortunately, with AI, we're so bombarded with such outrageous sort of content that it's going to make things that are real go, oh, kids are going to be like, I saw something.
See, I follow my 180-degree rule, and I go, if everybody's doing that, run the other way.
Run the other way.
That's why I'm doing long, slow, boring, unedited. Like the
But
total
is very true, yeah, isn't it? Yeah.
Run the other way. If everybody is doing that, and that is the method, that method is doomed to fail.
That's it. Yeah, that's why I tell the guys as soon as we start looking to other people for all the inspiration, and that other people's work is guiding your own work, then you're not.
You've lost your path.
That's right.
You have to believe.
You can do that to make money. That's how you make money. Like there's a company that's basically gone AI on our stuff and just gone just copied it all and just and it's just all AI slop, and it's just to make coin. They don't care about the fabrics. They don't care about the thing. They don't care about the community. They don't care about any of that stuff. It's just about another churn and burn, and you see them all over the internet, like drop ship stores and all that kind of thing, and it's just
doing the copy. Yeah.
But that's the idealization. I think that the young people of get rich quick. How do I get as much money as possible, as quickly as possible, so I can buy that Lambo, so I can be that influencer?
But that imitation as well is inevitable of the people who do run in the opposite direction. Is once it's being copied, and that's when and I always laugh at this, and people go, oh, what if somebody copies? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I got so many ideas. Like, I'll never run out of ideas.
That's
and
right.
I never run out of enthusiasm, because they'll run out of talent there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bored on that now. Like, I've already done that. Same as the bill. You're like, fuck, whatever. Once you've done it, you're like, go the other way.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right. It's and. Yeah, I guess that's the same principle with Elon Musk, with giving away all of the IP in a certain way. It's about bettering and improving as a whole. And if people copy it and do something even more brilliant with it, let's
amazing.
see it. That's open source to a T, isn't it? Really.
And that philosophy and those sorts of things, because I really agree with the stuff. I actually pay for Grok. I was using Google stuff because I've got friends there that I speak to about all the hardcore AI development. And I was using their stuff until at one point in time I was researching some political stuff, and within a space of 2 weeks during the last federal election, it stopped giving me honest answers, and it started saying, no, we can't do this. And really had to fight with it. Whereas I found that Grok's stuff is still giving you honest answers.
It's I think watching the models change and I have to admit I haven't spent enough time with Grok especially, but just looking at how the models have adapted and changed, it seems like there's obviously constant, like they say it's version this or version that or whatever, but there is constant
it's
change.
Changing in real time. Because the other thing that you could do up till not long ago was you could use Google's developer AI, which would let you fuck around with the guardrails. And so you could actually turn the guardrails off, and you could do certain things to make it actually that you can't do within the normal model.
Okay.
And I was fighting with the version that was the developer version, and I'm like, man, you guys are just fucking censoring here. Like, I need this information for research, and you're giving me different answers to what you gave me 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And there was a specific sequence of events that occurred that hit the media that then made them make those changes.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, this is fucked.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the scary thing is that, and looking at one of the Sam Alton interviews, where he says, it's not going to be the Terminator, it's not going to be this, it's human dependence that's going to be the number one problem with AI is that and you know, like if you took away a teenager's phone, or if you took away your phone for a week, you would feel like you couldn't achieve as much, or you couldn't do as much, or this, that, and the other, and that dependence on that phone, you know.
Yeah, it's the war of attrition. It's death by a thousand cuts. It's all those little things. There's never one big shift.
No.
Overton window moves so slowly that all of a sudden you're just existing in a different reality and nobody really notices.
How quickly, you've transitioned to that, and that's where we are now, sort of thing. And you know, there was the thing. Oh, you know, what's the point in going to uni if you've got it all in the palm of your hands? But I think the internet's proven that. I remember when I was 17 or 18 and working corporate for I was probably 19 by that stage, working corporate for 2 years. And as I was building this intranet, I'm like looking at all the older programmers. I'm like, far out. They're only maintaining systems that are like ancient. You know, that stuff's so old hat. No one's ever going to use that anymore. And the internet's this new thing. And I'm like, and then I got this realization when I was at 19 that I'm like, far out with the internet progressing like it is. Everybody's going to be super intelligent by the year 2005. Everybody is going to be super intelligent because they are going to have access to all the information of the world, and so but it's almost done the opposite, where people have become complacent because they're like, I've got access to that data and I can call on it anytime I need. I don't need it up here. But yeah, I think the biggest call with that is like, your memory was 1,000,000 times better when you had to remember all those friends' phone numbers from back in high school.
So much better.
Yeah.
And the conversation I have with my son, because I run the opposite way with technology. Like, he's had devices his whole life.
Yep.
Because I'm like, you need to be a fucking weapon at this. Like, Pandora's box is open. You can give him all the fucking wood toys in the world, but like, I want him to learn to ask good questions and to ask intelligent questions. So he's got PC, Mac, Android, iPhone, and it's just open slather on them. There's obviously, you know, sensible times and sensible amounts and oversight, but I just want him to be a fucking weapon at all that stuff, because anything you restrict is what I find is inevitably doubled down on, or potentially in the wrong way.
That's it. Yeah, I think you know, the other thing that's missing though is not missing, but the technology is not the bad thing. It's the consumerism versus creation, where, you know, people that finish uni, that's something to be proud of because you've worked hard to get there, but the whole time you've not created anything of value. You've only consumed information to level up.
Correct.
But that means nothing. It's not until you take that information and do something amazing with it that's where the value comes. And that's the thing, is that I used to play, like I said, Commander King, Duke Nukem, all that stuff. I eventually got bored of just going, oh yeah, like the dopamine of like bang, 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 or whatever. And then suddenly I'm like, this really annoys me that I have to use DOS and go CD / this directory, blah, blah, blah. So I built a basic menu system that was like a GUI before Windows, you know, just because of my laziness of having to type that every time. I was just like, why don't we do that? And it was out of boredom, laziness, and all those things that creativity came. And I think that's the most important thing. And
that would have you been 3 years ahead of everybody else. It's that, again, where you're just like, fuck, what? Like, because to you, it's obvious.
Yeah, children don't need to be stimulated all the time.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And that's the balance. There's a way to it, but restricting, because I'm watching a lot of the restricting conversations, whereas my son really loves drawing, and so like the designer that I use on all my work, he's also a graphic artist and a painter, and so they're doing one-on-one sessions where he's learning like classical painting skills and watercolours and how things blend and how, you know, your different pressures, but then also how to apply that on a tablet, and then how to and just all the different iterations of it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Because to be a master, you've got to study the classics.
That's right. Yeah.
And then once you reach a level of competence, then you can dance with it.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. It's I found I'd say anybody. There's different people as well. I think that every single person on this planet, it depends on what their path is as well. I think. Yeah, it's interesting to see people put into different. And a friend's dad said that to me when we were having beers at his birthday, and he had my mate, and he had 7 brothers or 6 brothers, a big family, And he said, Loz, because I just had a litre, he goes, Loz, just don't beat yourself up. He goes, seven brothers, all had the same upbringing, all had the same everything. He goes, all completely different. You've got to, and I think as a parent, that's an interesting one to sort of look at, isn't it?
It is. Well, you just got to give them the tools.
Give them the tools, that's right.
Give them the tools to be
my mum
manners, kindness and effort.
Yeah, mum had no idea about the internet or anything like that. But she's like, oh, this seems important, I'll buy him a computer. And a $3,000 computer, which was probably 12 grand worth of pay these days on for a single mother is incredible.
Yeah, it's wild.
And then I had nothing else to play with. I had that computer, that's it. There was not many toys and I didn't have much when I was young, but yeah, and it's funny because the more things, I think is that a Montessori thing of limiting the amount of toys and things like that is, if you've got too much of everything, you don't value anything, why do we rip out weeds and then spend all our time looking after these pretty flowers that are just a pain in the ass, because they'll break after not enough sun, not enough water, not enough this, but we nurture and love that thing. But then a weed, because it's more effective and more efficient and doesn't actually require any maintenance, we hate those things. It's such an interesting analogy when you look at it.
Mate, and the tending the garden of your mind is one of the things I refer to often in my own existence, is keeping it clear of those weeds. And it's why I keep a pretty big shield around my whole life and around what I let in, because I don't want anything that detracts from just living, a good, decent life the way that I want. That always protecting the garden of your mind. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Anything I see that irritates me, I'm like, fucking no, get rid of that.
Just quick to discard and quick, that's the thing. It's like the whole forgive and forget thing. It's quick to forgive, but never. You should be quick to forgive, but never forget. Sort of thing.
No,
it's
absolutely.
Just, because that's one thing a lot of people don't realise is the when you're angry at somebody, or when you beat yourself up over a situation that happened, or you had a failure at business or life or personal life or whatever, when you hold on to that, it doesn't affect anybody else. It only affects you. And it's I see a lot of friends and people that I've met in my life that have this weight over their shoulders from past experiences, and they can't let things go, and it's just crippling them. And that's painful to see. That's one of those muscles that once you build it up, and look at a politician like Teflon, it's
have to be.
When it just buffers off you suddenly gain more clarity, and you don't get bogged down with bullshit. You're just there, and you're focused on what you need to do and get ahead. So
because that stuff, the anger or those sorts of things, the swallowing poison, wishing for the other person to die.
Yeah.
You only hurt yourself, and it's that stuff. I've become so acutely aware of these things and how much they affect my own state, which then affects my own creative output. And so because it affects my creative output, the same way you'd build a good, you're like, absolutely not doing it that way, absolutely doing it this way.
That's right.
And I just never believed in my own philosophies, I guess, even though I'd always done them. But it's actually been through listening to more podcasts and then talking to more people. I'm like, these fucking things I tell myself, they're actually not that dumb. And then I keep meeting people that have philosophies that overlap, or I learn additional things that I didn't even think about, and then I apply them to my own.
Yeah.
Because all I really want to do is just live a life building great relationships with great human beings who think in a similar way, and then just do stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like our whole lives. Like that's all I want. I just want to do fucking dumb shit with awesome people. Like that's it. The end.
That's it. I think that we had a breath of fresh air the other day like that. Is drift around the world.
Yes.
And
yes.
then just winging it and just see it what happens. And
Totally.
I remember because I was proud of the fact that I left my phone at home when I did that trip. And I mean, phones weren't even smartphones then; they weren't a big thing. But just having no point of contact. When I went over to the States for the first time, and when I was in Newport Beach, California, actually it was Newport Beach, California, and and I met these two Aussies that had it was like a $500 Bedford van, and their plan was we've got $500 each saved up left, so we're going to go down to the bottom of South America. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, just that seems so extreme, but you throw out a random idea and see where it takes you and the adventures that you have. And I guess because I've done that a few times in Japan, like just around the world, and throw yourself into really difficult situations.
They're the greatest.
There you have the greatest adventures, because you open up, I think, a thing inside you that causes you to become resourceful.
That's
like,
you in the ute going to the beach. It's that.
Yeah.
As a teen, it's literally, you get that feeling again. I find is just that freedom. That fuck, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's an excellent chance this is going to go badly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever. Send it.
I think Shane said that to me the other day. He's like, you've got to bring that twin turbo Viper GDR to Japan. And I said, yeah, for sure. I said, we'll have to retune it on 98. Fuck that. He goes, we'll just get a tanker and just
figure it out.
Have a tanker behind the car and just keep 85 the whole way. And I'm like, oh gosh.
You go, this will be fine. Then you'll open up a whole new market of E85 into Japan.
That's all right, yeah. I mean, E85 is not even that accessible over there, but I mean, you probably tune it to the 100 race fuel or whatever they have over there. There's enough choices, but yeah, it's although the Japanese are more for that than anybody, individualism and standing out. You know, that's because of the whole, you've got to do things this way, and the structure of their society. It's amazing to see that when it does lash out or does it's so flamboyant in a certain way, and that's why you get a lot of the cool, like Bosozoku style, all that, the coolest styles come out of Japan, you know.
And that is, and it's funny, isn't it? You bring that up, like that is the repression, and that is the 180 degrees. That is fighting and running in the absolute opposite direction of what is the wildest possible outcome.
That's right.
And I think they do that better than anyone.
Well, that's what it was, wasn't it? Like,
yes.
It was like the conformity of you can't do that. You can't modify your car, and they tried to bring in things like Australia has with defects, and they tried to bring that in Japan, and so the teenagers just went, no, we're going to go harder, and it got to that obscenely excessive stage. And then finally they won because the government backed off, you know, and it shows. And I think that's especially with everything going on in Australia at the moment, people feel a bit disillusioned, like coming far out. One Nation is coming out of nowhere, and it's not because people like One Nation at all. It's because she's bankrolled by Gina, but not just that. It's just that people want to change. Whatever it is, they don't want what we have at the moment. You know, and
they feel tricked.
They feel tricked. They feel deceived. They feel tricked. They feel that obviously we're going to go on a heavy socialist path if we stay with Labor and things like that, and just get taxed out the wazoo.
Into oblivion.
Into oblivion, exactly. And so One Nation's the only option really at this stage, isn't it?
So I was listening to, I think it was Pocock in Senate, just asking the question of going, what's the gross tax revenue on beer this financial year? And it'll be 2.7 billion. And then he said, okay, now what's the gross tax revenue on our offshore gas? Which, you know, given that we're the largest offshore gas exporter in the world, should eclipse that.
Absolutely disgusting.
1.5 billion. So we are going to tax the Australian taxpayer more on beer than what we generate from gas that we ship offshore.
Exactly.
And
insane.
don't get hit, like, and you're just there going, what the fucking fuck?
Yeah. Well, it's like the toll roads thing, isn't it? It's like that some F-wit dobbing in somebody else for using a license plate thing, and they're like, yes, the police must use their resources that we pay for to make sure that overseas company gets their profit from. It's like, it's so going, backwards.
Yeah, we've shit the bed pretty hard here when we are not championing effort, innovation, entrepreneurship, building things, making things. To run in the opposite direction from that doesn't go to great places. And people who've left places under dictatorships, socialist regimes, they're like, the theory is magnificent. The practice, done by humans, is always fucked and corrupt every time.
the whole neo-communism thing. I think that's when you're talking government systems and things like that, I think that it'll end up being AI that's the smartest way to. There's humans still need a figurehead of some sort, like
Absolutely.
a meat bag that sits up on the pedestal, and
we need to be told,
and they have to be likable, and they have to be just because you've got good ideas or you're smart doesn't mean anything. You've got to be likable by the masses.
You've got to be handsome with a good jawline.
That's all that. Well, that hasn't happened for a while in Australia.
No, but we're really, yeah. But you can sort of see when you see some of the people starting to stand out.
Definitely.
And look, Pauline had that shoot on a Sandman, so that's the photo that comes out every time if you've seen that one. And you're like, well, that's fucking awesome, but like...
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Full blown schmozzle. But look, mate, we have actually heavily extended our time.
It's almost 3. Is that?
Yes, that is.
That
is 2 hours and 50 minutes. Yeah. And see, this always happens. I'm like, oh, we're an hour and a bit, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna start. Fuck, we just like demolished another hour and 20 from when I said that.
Well, I enjoyed this, so I'm happy for a part 2 or something like that.
Mate.
Maybe we can talk more cars or something, or pick a topic or whatever. But
I've had a few people who've come on more than once, and for people like yourself who just like we haven't even scratched the surface. But this has just been a really wonderful chat, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
I just wanted to come and talk shit with you.
Perfect. Yeah. No, that's good. It's good. Yeah.
Mate, for people that wouldn't mind getting themselves some swag and all the cool things that you do, where should they go hunting? Yeah,
so just type Hardtuned in wherever. And so we've got these ones are the new die-cast cars we've had made of the GDR. They're coming out soon. And obviously we've got so much in the works for this year. So many big collabs, so much really cool merch. Like I think last year we're probably 400-500% more products than we released last year. So we're this year is going to be a big year for us, and a lot of really cool different paths we're taking. So really excited for that.
Mate, I am keen to see more. I'm particularly keen to hear if you put a disciplined creative practice in place and how that pans out.
And that, definitely. Thank you for that advice. It's just finding out what works for you, isn't it, really? And just how to, I wish there was a light switch that you could just turn on creativity, but...
Same. It's not there. I went looking, and it's not there. You got to build the environment.
I think for creativity, though, the notepad and writing it down.
Massive.
And, we've got a database, like a huge Google Sheets with all the different millions of ideas.
I hope you're running those bad boys through AI.
It'd be a good one, wouldn't it? Yeah.
To filter and cross-pop, mate, that's the first thing I thought of.
What's that? So what would you do?
Okay, what I would do is if I was placed with that problem, I would look at your data sets, figure out what the markers are. I would then run some tests and I would ingest it. And I would say, based on global trends, and I would look at all sorts of different markers of success. And then I would get it to do a business case and viability study across the data set and get it to show me the top 5.
Yeah, wow, that's smart, yeah. Whereas I'm here going, I've got a 3-year-old daughter, I would love to do sneakers for her. So let's put it out there.
That's it, but like all the time, these are the commercial questions.
It's true, though. From a commercial side of things, definitely.
Is you go, we got all this stuff, and because quite often, as a business gets bigger, you're like, what's the most valuable thing? You just go back to the numbers. You always go back to the numbers.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And then you look at the different things, and same with opportunity. You break the opportunity down into numbers.
Yeah. And it's quite an interesting one, isn't it, from a psychological standpoint, is that I find as soon as it's something that can make me lots and lots, like you said, I've got a book as well, like just full of ideas I haven't even actioned yet. And I'm like, as soon as it's something that's like that's going to be a big cash bag thing, I actually find I shy away from it. It's weird. Maybe that's that grassroots sort of
probably
thing inside of me. But it's weird because I'm like, am I just doing it for the money? You know? And as soon as it comes and like we said with the home automation thing, it's like, why can't Google compete against a thing? Because when it's a passion project, it's a completely different thing to when I think that's what it is. It's when you're scared of it it starts to feel like work.
Because then that fucks it.
Completely.
And you just want it to be beautiful.
Yeah, you just want it to be beautiful and you want to create it,
Utopia.
From the shoes to the hoodies to everything that's created, it's just I think the jackets where I was freezing at Daikoku Futo one night and I was just like, this jacket is garbage. And then we said, okay, we're releasing a full winter range. and doing it thick. And then we thought about all the details. We checked the temperatures there at that time and go, okay, we need suitable for that climate. Or when you're, out the ports in Osaka, freezing cold, it's like 2 a.m. and there's all the street drifting going on. You want gloves, you want a jacket, you want a beanie, you want all that kind of stuff. And it comes from necessity of those times,
And see, that to me is the magic of what you do, and that is the success. Because the people who then go and do those things feel that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the magic. That's the beautiful story that weaves in to the success of your company.
Yeah, I think, well, that's it. I think and that's why it's been hard to sort of go and go, okay, let's get some product development managers and a design team in place, because they haven't had the life experience that a lot of the guys, myself and a lot of the guys in the team have had, is that they don't know. They're not car people like that. They're not in the same sort of depth.
And again, my pattern recognition, all the magic that you've talked about has come from irritation.
Exactly, irritation. Yeah, perfect.
Like the phones, the computers, the finding the way around.
Yeah.
The Australian telco provider.
I'd say
irritation, and you're like, fuck. And then
80% of my book is gripe with something,
and then there's magic in that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because odds are lots of other people are also irritated, but they haven't developed a solution.
Exactly, yeah. Well, that astounds me, because I don't get it, where people don't want to fix the problem. They just want to talk about it and then tell every single person they know about the problem. But the resolution is 2 hours or 3 hours, but instead they'll spend 50 hours of their life or 200 hours of their life complaining about the same problem.
And those are the weeds that I keep out of the garden.
Yeah, that's true.
Because people are wired differently, brought up, whatever it is. There are people who can identify problems, and then there are people who can solve problems. And they are two very different types of people. Yeah. And I spend limited time with people who can only identify problems. All I ever say to anyone who works with me is, do not come to me unless you've got a solution. I don't care if it's the fucking dumbest thing you've ever said out loud. Do not bring me a problem, bring me a solution, because I am only interested in solutions.
That's right, yeah.
If you can't think of one, why the fuck am I wasting my time on you?
Yeah. I've found that, I've been getting my builder's license to finish off this house build just for fun sort of thing. Got the builder's license, did all that, and that's what I noticed in that scenario was just, so many trades coming to me. I'm like, you're the professional, why are you asking me? I'm the builder, but I've explained my part, I do not know everything in there. I'm winging a lot of this.
But you are solutions focused, which means you can develop things
and that's
on
exactly
the fly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So they're like, what do we do here, Loz? And I'll be like, I'll just use, and I'll find, but do you know what that is? That's not that I'm any better than them. They might have a much better, smarter idea than I do. I've got the confidence, a blind confidence to believe in my gut and believe in what I'm saying.
Because you've done it enough times.
Exactly.
Because you have to.
I haven't done enough times in that field.
But that's self-employment, is you go, that feels bad, based on the quick math I can do in my head, that seems sensible.
Yeah, and we've ballsed up a ton of stuff, just, oh shit, those cornices are not the right thing, or this is not the right thing, or same with the car builds, oh, this turbo was not the right turbo for that application, or we need to go back to the drawing board and do some more R&D. But the whole holding on to bullshit, the more you can go, okay, just don't be upset about it.
Don't hang on to it, fail fast, push it out of the way, learn the lesson. And then go on to the next thing, because that's amazing, because you've done the work, learnt the thing, then the iterations, because nobody just develops anything ever that just works. Nothing just goes fucking boom. There's a little idea and then iterations.
Yeah. Kudos to a lot of the scientists and researchers and whatnot that
They're the
are coming up with drugs and new innovations and medical things like that, because you look at stuff, especially with cancer research. Like we haven't cured cancer yet, but people have devoted their whole lives to it without finding a cure or without finding a solution. But their research will be used.
But penicillin was an accident. Yeah. They fucked up the experiment and then went, hang on a second. I still find that the most incredible thing of the last 100 years, that human changing breakthrough was a fuck up in a lab.
Or Ozempic. That's the more modern one. Yeah.
it's that stuff where, but somebody goes, oh, hang on a second, or the same as Post-it notes, that glue that wasn't sticky, that was a mistake as well. And I love that story. And
Because
then the bloke was like, he started making stacks of notes using the glue he fucked up. And then that became Post-it notes, and that was a failed experiment.
That you
to
don't
make the glue
less tacky, low tack.
That was a catastrophic fuck up.
Brilliant, isn't it?
And I'm like, that is amazing. And reading those things, and just being a student of life and life experience, and learning how the people that you idolise actually just have a series of catastrophic fuck ups to become the person you idolise.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's amazing.
Well, I think the number one thing with kids and stuff like that is, learn to be a good learner.
Yeah.
Learn to be a good student.
Learn to be a good student.
And that learning and growing and adapting doesn't end at... And I think most IT people share that, because if you haven't kept learning 5 years...
Mate, you're out.
You're out. You're out. Now, who cares what you did at uni 10 years ago? It doesn't mean anything.
You are so irrelevant.
None of the technology that I had when I was doing intranet systems back 15 years ago is relevant anymore. Of course not. But but that's what blows my mind is you look at lawyers, doctors, this, that, and the other. And sure, my dad's a doctor, and he has to go to those conferences once every year to get his little thing
to keep the thing signed off.
And he goes, we've got to sit in all these meetings and this, that, and the other, and learn, sit and listen to some speakers and stuff like that. And that's what we've got to do. And that's my total training. And so I'm like, that means that you're really only just riding on what you learned back then, and your practical
and your
use
day
to day, of course. But at the same time, it's not as radically progressing like technology is,
or as self-directed. But this is why the IT stuff and nerds ruling the world. Like all the biggest money makers on planet Earth now are tech.
Yeah,
it's all tech guys, and it's just a bunch of nerdy dudes.
Yeah,
fuck.
That's right. Yeah, but I broke my dad's heart. Like, he's like, I've got all these medical practices. I'm a doctor. You can have all this, and this is the legacy that I sort of leave to you. And I'm like, I want to just do dumb shit on the computer, and it's just like, and muck around with cars. And he couldn't understand it at all. But it was him growing up and watching him in a consulting room every single day, seeing patient after patient after patient, and it's good money and it's a respectable job, and you are helping people, and it's very commendable. Don't get me wrong. But I said, as soon as I saw that, I said, that's not the life for me. I could not do that.
That's a prison. In my mind,
it's a prison.
I am terrified of being forced to be somewhere.
Yeah,
that is my greatest fear.
Exactly. Yeah. No, definitely. Or but that's the thing is that people said, after being an entrepreneur or owning your own businesses and like being director of a few companies or whatever, how could you go back to being an employee? I think I could. I think if the leadership, I'm not the world's greatest leader. I've got my team, and I think we work well, and I look after them quite well. But I believe that because I've had so many strong mentors throughout my time, I don't believe in myself being the big boss. I don't believe in whatever. I just believe in the vision. So it's if somebody else has got that vision and I believe in that vision and I think that that's worthy of my time in life, then I'll follow somebody else, But it's more about the end goal and what we're trying to create. Like I've always pondered that whether after this house and this, that, and the other, and a lot of the businesses are running quite passively now, which is good. But yeah, like obviously, what do people seem to get into? Politics or something like that. But I see politics as not politics, as like, I'm going to run for Senate. Like one of my moderators from Nissan Silvia actually was in. He's a senator in Parliament and in Canberra, and he got in. He was a real estate agent and tried for I think 6 months, and then he got in and got a seat in Canberra in 6 months. And I'm like, far out, if you can if it can happen that quickly, what's the bar? Sort of thing. He's a smart guy, don't get me wrong, but where's that bar if it's that easy to get into politics, And then I'm like, well, maybe the system is broken. I think that
some seats are easier than others.
And that, yeah, of course, yeah. If
some are hotly contested, some are.
Yeah.
And again, you just run the numbers.
That's right, yeah, just do ChatGPT.
If you want to figure out whether one is to skate in a bit easier, that you'll just need to...
No, but if anything, like the project that I'd be interested in working on for that is how do we adopt a new form of government? like completely. Just scrap the whole what we're doing at the moment and focus on that. Or
How do we think 100 years ahead?
100.
And that's the thing that rages me is I'm sick of fucking 3-year cycles. You can't do shit in 3 years and then have the next people just fucking flip the table.
Oh, the
you don't
4-year
move
party
forward.
politics is fucked.
Fuck.
It's just completely fucked.
I want to see 100-year thinking.
China, you look at China, you look at dictatorships are not so bad when somebody's got a clear direction,
Mate,
you know?
And particularly when the direction is science and technology.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's how China is.
China's thinking they're already 20 years ahead of what we are now.
We're so fucked.
And so they're just sort of laughing at America, going, "Oh, well, this is what what we're doing now," and then somebody else will get in, and there'll be a new direction. And often a lot of it's, they say you've only really got a year and a half, 18 months of real presidency or leadership, because you're either campaigning and you're building up, or you're gearing up for the next election.
And that, and the identity politics and all that sort of stuff, that just totally moves the argument away from things that ask the question, where are we going to be in 50 years? Where are we going to be in 100 years?
Exactly.
And like without that thinking.
And the thing is that you forward plan for, especially with tech, you forward plan for 10 or 20 years, and it'll not be what you thought it was.
No, it won't even be close.
But you've laid the foundation to be more prepared.
Mate, same as if I want to learn something, aim for the top 1%. You'll end up in a pretty good place. It's that same thing. Aim for the very best, and despite the fact that it will veer wildly off course, it is that vision that you have set that will carry it forward.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. Yeah. Have you read the Anthropic's CEO, the big? Oh gosh,
I haven't.
That's a rabbit hole to his big his post about where AI is heading and not to fearmonger or anything like that, but to look at it from bigger open eyes. He's basically saying that 6 to 12 months, if all the leaders are not seriously having conversations between all the nations to take this seriously, it's a very doomsday sort of feel, but more so as in all your societies are going to start collapsing because you're not keeping up.
No.
And you've got to start preparing now.
But we're seeing that already. Like, we're seeing a societal disconnect unlike anything we've seen in more modern memory in Western society in particular.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's obviously, I think anxiety amongst the masses is going to be huge, though. Once the, you don't see it until it's there, sort of thing. A lot of people don't have that vision of where we're heading.
The other thing is, though, is for a human being, or most human beings, to achieve anything, and myself included, sometimes extreme pressure is required to initiate change. And the thing I always say is, unfortunately, somebody always has to die before something gets done. But we are hurtling towards a pain point that will force change.
Yeah, that's right. There'll be a flashpoint at some point that causes that,
will.
And people will wake up very rapidly. But I think that was interesting. Yeah, that the Landmark Forum, that was a huge impact that I had on I did about 6 years ago, that changed everything I did in my life quite dramatically. And it's because people hate it so much, that Landmark Forum gets such a bad rap online because it's so, it aggressively attacks your own core and says, maybe what you're doing is not right, or something in a certain way. But it for the right people, it makes you question it. And the amount of light bulbs that I had after that was insane, because it sort of turbocharged everything I was doing in a massive way, where obviously somebody that's got a victim mentality or something like that can be crushed by something like that. So I can see it really comes down to the personality and type.
Well, it's allowing for death of ego.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the critical change I have found, is, are you more worried about who you actually are or who you tell people you are? And once that ego death, if you can go through that wonderful journey and let go and have the realisation that nothing fucking matters, and you can do whatever you want and nobody cares.
That's right. Yeah.
There is an unbelievable freedom in that.
Exactly.
But that is a significant journey.
People hold on to their identity too much, and they cement their identity as, this is who I am, and this is
and then fight to protect it.
and fight to protect it, but they don't know, they don't realize they're doing it, and they don't know why they're doing it. Yeah, that's the main thing.
Whereas my great gift is I just think I'm a fucking moron.
Yeah.
And I proudly, and what that does is when people attack me on the internet, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I have no idea what I'm doing. You are correct. That's the end of the discussion.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? It's sort of
Like, I'm not fighting my position. I'm like, no, you're right. You're far smarter than me. Congratulations. And then I move on with my life.
yeah,
And like all of a sudden, like everything is so much easier.
yeah, that's right, exactly. Because you don't, and it comes to not being possessive of it, whether it's your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings, your image. Drop possessiveness, and suddenly, you know,
Because it's just my lens.
Yeah.
And everybody's lens through which they view the world is different,
yeah.
based on their experiences and their upbringing
And it's
whole
phenomenal.
matter of things.
I went through that with my 3-year-old actually. Like before she went to kindy, before she set foot in that kindy, she was like, just the whole idea of sharing wasn't even a thing. It was just like, oh, it's ours. It's not. There's no sharing thing. There's no. It wasn't called sharing. It was just it's not mine. And within 6 months of being at kindy, mine, you're not taking it from me. Like, you know, it's crazy because of the competitiveness and the snatching, or the way kids are in society and that level. You know, it's sort of quite interesting to see, and that's instilled from you that early, that you've got like, you know, the mine and yours thing.
Oh, yeah. But it's one of the best parts, and you're a bit earlier in the journey than me, is watching the evolution of your child as they go through that, and then how they sort of unlock their different levels and how they sort of start to find their way.
Yeah.
I think that the societal aspect of the socialisation, that's the greatest value in those experiences, is, you know, just sort of getting pushed in Lord of the Flies style and fucking figure it out. Because they find their way.
Oh, there's always going to be a pecking order,
and then they find their way back.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
It is, yeah. It's quite interesting, yeah. I think I can't help myself but look through the window after dropping her off, look through the window and see how she actually, like, because how your children are when you're not around is the big thing, isn't it? Like
Totally different.
Totally different, yeah.
Totally different, and they're fucking wild to see. And like the performance that they can potentially give, and then like 10 minutes later they're like, "You ring going, are they all right? I'm so worried." And they're like, "Yeah, mate, they're fine. Like,
Yeah.
that performance was just for you."
Yeah.
So that
5 seconds after you're gone, they turn it off.
That's just so that that's their way of saying, "I love you. I can't live without you. I'm not leaving you on purpose." And then they just get on with their life. And you're like, oh, okay.
That's it. And that's why, pushing them a little bit into dangerous situations.
It's and I do that with my boy now. It's my favourite thing, because like my wife, she's probably a bit more of a helicopter parent, whereas I'm like, mate, when you're with the old boy, I'm gonna fucking kick you into the fire. Like,
that's
right.
right.
You know, because life isn't kind. Things are complex, and you do need to be able to find strategies, healthy strategies, of dealing with
The thing.
complexity.
That's right, yeah. I see it straight away, yeah. Like with if she falls over in front of me, she quickly tries to dust herself off and just suck up those tears. Even
Because you're like, that's what Dad's going to do. He's going to be like, "You're right, mate. Don't worry about it."
Don't worry about it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You're not going to get sympathy sort of thing unless it's
not over here.
But that's the weird thing, isn't it? It's the same with the. Why do I always like? I try and tell Lita this and this and this and this. This is Kat, and she's like, she doesn't listen to me. But then you just raise an eyebrow and they cut it short real quick.
And they know.
Yeah.
Like, that's can become super frustrating
Exactly. trying to work out that, and I'm like, say less, action more, sort of thing. You know?
Because children do not do what you tell them; they model off your own behaviour. Like it's not what you say; it's what you do. So you need to be whatever it is you're trying to, because that's what they're inevitably going to model.
Yeah, actually, my best mate Dan, that was just coming in before, he said that he's got 3 girls. So 3 girls. So it was it 9 months on, 3 months off, 9 months on, 3 months off, 9 months on, 3 months off, bang, bang, bang. Punched them all out in 3 years, crazy.
Doing life on hard mode there.
Yeah, that's right. But it's funny that, isn't it? Yeah, because you look at that, and he said the biggest thing the kids have taught me is to adjust and adapt and reflect on my own behaviour. And it's the biggest life lesson of your own, isn't it?
It's fucking magical, mate.
Yeah.
Like being a dad, I actually say this to my boy all the time. I'm like, the one thing I'm most proud of in my whole life out of everything I've ever done is being a fucking good dad. Like, I don't get it right all the time, but I work my fucking ass off to be an excellent father. Yeah. I am so fucking proud of that. Right. Yeah. And I'm so proud of him because he is just a good young man. And that just, yeah.
It is interesting when you meet a child like that as well. Like even I've got a kid around the corner that I hadn't seen in years. And so I gave him a call straight away. It was a little letterbox letter saying, I'll wash your cars or mow your lawns or do whatever, this, that and the other. I'm 13 years old and I'll whatever you need me to do around the yard, give us a call and we'll discuss pay or discuss whatever. But it was just a random letter. And you know, kids don't really do that these days. And so it was quite surprising to see that and meeting him and this and the other. You know, he's got his good head on his shoulders, and it's just seeing somebody that's quite different to your average 13-year-old. You know, it was cool to see. But yeah, that's the entrepreneurial spirit as well.
Absolutely,
You know?
And that seems to be, you know, your nature nurture discussions. But like, I think there's a bit of both in those things, because that's my boy will want to buy mine coins and Robux and stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm like, absolutely, you can have that stuff, but I'm not going to give you the money for it.
Yeah,
you have to find ways. And so we've been through, you know, the bottles, because I'm just finding that a really good way to teach him the difficulty, discipline, complexity, the hard work, and whether you want to do hard work or thinking work, or and just making him, because he's like, oh, I made $15, and like, yeah, that took you 5 weeks of saving plus having to get here, plus like you.
We were at it.
Yeah, your inputs versus your outputs are not great. And he's like, yeah, it's a bit rough. I went, well, we're going to have to work on that together, aren't we, mate?
Yeah, it was.
Utilisation.
Alita did something cute like that. Yeah, we're at dinner on the weekend, and it was just like she's ordering. She's like, I want that one and that one, like sort of thing. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. And I said, so who's paying? She's like, oh, it's okay, Daddy's paying for this meal. And I'm like, yeah, of course. I said to her, I thought you were paying for this one. And she got so upset, and I'm like, oh my God, why? And I'm like, why'd you get upset? Like, because you didn't have the money to pay? Or no, yeah, because I left my wallet at home, and I'm happy to pay, but I'm silly, and I left my wallet at home. And I'm like, bless. She's so cute like that. Just it wasn't about the I can't pay. It's just no. I would have paid. It's just I forgot.
I didn't bring my money, and you're like, oh, you little bugger.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. You can get the next one.
No, the best. Now, we said we were going to finish a while ago.
Let's.
I'm going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Mr. Loz Glen, thank you for the time. This has been fucking excellent.
Appreciate it. Yeah, and thank you for again coming down.
I've enjoyed this so much.
It's good because we haven't really actually. I don't think we haven't talked longer than probably half an hour.
We have crossed paths.
Yeah.
And that's probably been the most.
Yeah, that's right.
Never actually stopped and talked to you because again, like you're a busy dude. I got few things going on, and like that's just life. Whereas this, I get to, like, these blokes were like, oh, I need to speak to him as well. And they're like, you know, I need 3 minutes of his time. And I just sort of laugh and go, yeah, well, I'm fucking taking half his day.
Yeah, that's fine though.
That's magical.
No, of course, yeah. And that's the thing is that, make time for things of value, and I think this is going to go places. It's excellent. The setup that you've got and the style and the format.
It's just fun, mate.
Love it.
It's just fucking fun. Yeah. Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
To many more of these silly things.
Yeah, definitely. Do you do group ones as well, a few people, or is it? Do you find that the format doesn't really work?
I don't. For what I want, it's not as effective. Because depending on the personality types, the personalities can override the conversation.
Yeah, that's
and so for a person who is perhaps more reserved but has wonderful things to say, they won't share. So for what I want this to be, one-on-one for sure. The live show that we do, like the thing at events, that is far better. That the group thing, that works great.
Because it's more playful sort of thing.
It's way more playful, more banter, more shit talking. People who don't know each other or only know each other via the internet, and then they finally get to meet, you know, on my show. So that's why there's sort of a live version, but then there's the the pure podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Himmy actually, what is it, the mukbang or whatever the fuck it is, where you sit down and you eat and then you talk shit.
Oh, so Himmy's been on it as well? Yeah, cool, yeah.
He's a fucking rad dude.
Yeah, Himmy's cool. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're gonna do that. And I'm sure that the opportunity will come up. But I think something like that, where you've got a handful of interesting people sitting around, and you probably wouldn't have your headphones on, you'd do it slightly differently to make it a bit more organic. You'd probably set a space up and, you know, point some mics from the roof or something,
boom mics
just so that you're just rolling as is.
Yeah.
That would be entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, whatever you've got next, yeah.
Some smack talk.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, well, we're going to stop talking, otherwise we're going to go forever. Those of you who have made it another 3-hour episode, as we always seem to do by accident, thank you for sharing your day with me and listening to the Already Everything podcast. Be kind to yourself. Catch you next time.